Welcome back, everybody, to Advantage in Paradise.
Oh,
Um, you right there, Alex?
yeah, I had to. That almost was just a full-on burp, and
The
I knew that
perfect
Shannon was going to yell
timing.
at me if I didn't hold it in. So,
Yes, I was. Thank you.
Well, good job, Alex. That's you could get a little, not in the game, but in real life. I'm going to give you a little inspiration
thank you.
for that,
I
that
need it. I
successful
really
held
need it.
burp. The human Alex can re-roll a dice
Oh,
for something
perfect.
that Alex does. All right, let's jump into our recap. All right, so on the 15th day of Arwood Gloam, the bitter shadow on a Yavela's dog. Last we met, the Wayward Five, wounded, retreated into the gates of Kolpolt Rodstva. Timber and Sarathil, amongst the most wounded party, Sarathil conscious and bleeding out, they were brought deeper into the fortress to the Mender's Guild to be healed. The remaining heroes only had a moment to catch their breath before the Mind Flayers continued their assault. Or rather, one could say Carcery continued its assault. The plane of existence, once home to the god known as the Wayward One, it now holds just the Harbinger and his constructs. Some of the illithids the party defeated were augmented with a strange ferrofluid made up of construct motes. These mote clusters separated from the bodies and began assaulting the gates in a final second attack. The party responded with ranged attacks from the arrow slits in the walls. These clusters quickly saw these openings as a breach and swarmed the gatehouse. These constructs were feeble on their own, deadly as a swarm. The party struggled to fight off these creatures, and to their dismay, the illithids were also pressing on the defenses. The elder brain, known as Precursor, showed itself and lashed out against Kolpolt Rodstva's defenses. While Curon and Scarlet fought the moat clusters, Talray provided suppressive fire to help the fortress defenses fight off the elder brain. Thanks to his support, the construct defenses were able to push the elder brain back, but the swarm of motes brought Talray down. Before the elder brain was completely pushed back, it assaulted the mind of Curon, severing his connection to the material plane and sending his soul directly to Carcery. As Scarlet destroyed the last of the swarm with her erupted flesh ability, she came out of her rage to find both her remaining companions unconscious. She was able to stabilize Talray, but found Curon entirely unresponsive. The remaining Dwergar watched as she desperately tried to keep Curon alive. Mundi, Talray's Moondrake companion, helped as much as he could with some divine magic. Within the depths of Carcery, Curon found himself face to face with the Harbinger. The man cursed with the powers of the Wayward One and cursed with the same crusade against the gods. This menace attacked Curon's soul repeatedly. In this dark moment, a familiar old friend appeared to help. The Wayward One himself, Hadric, attempted to reassert control within Carcery to protect Curon. A duel of power began between Hadric and the Harbinger, his own creation. With their combined pleas for help to the gods, Scarlet and Curon begged for further divine intervention. The gods momentarily infused Curon with the power of Fierce Soul and the twilight magic of his dead goddess Ilivania. He pushed back the Harbinger just as he attempted to kill Hadric. Before this menace could retaliate, Hadric teleported everyone to safety, including those on the material plane, temporarily to the fields of death. The Endeavor left the old god permanently wounded by the Harbinger's strangling grip. Curon suffered severe damage to his soul in the process, but his wounds will heal with time. After a reprieve under the warming sunset of the fields of death, our heroes return to the cold shadows of the Underdark to continue their quest. And that is where we left off. Curon, Talray, and Scarlet, along with Strani, Ebediah and Duergar number 3 are all conscious, just come awake in the gatehouse of Kolpolt Rodstva. What would you like to do?
Kieran will sit up, start to rise to his feet, and looking to Strani and Ebediah, Duergar number 3, he'll go, I hope you finally see now the reason for our fight. Why we cannot stay here much longer.
I'll help you
Harbinger
up, Kieran.
comes. Thank you. Harbinger comes. Harbinger comes, and we must gather our strengths. Further north, face him.
You would see the 3 dwarves are looking to each other with, they're typically pretty jovial, but they have very stern faces. You see Ebediah kind of comes up and drops a heavy hand on as high as he can get on your arm. Can't quite get your shoulder.
Yes, Kieran looks to Strani like, what's he saying?
And she puts a subsequent hand on his shoulder, kind of pulls him back. But he gave this very stern face and serious plea. And he just, we understand. Whatever that was, it is clearly a threat to us all. I mean, they are behind the Illithids attacking us.
Yeah.
And they seem a little they're still a little disoriented from all that experience. They're disoriented from the attack, but also from shifting to not 1 but 2 other planes of existence,
Right.
in a very short amount of time. But she kind of shakes her head and says, "We should get you to the house, to the Mending Guild. You look pretty bad." She looks at you, particularly Kieran, and to Talray, who's also beat up.
Talray is just munching on a good berry right now, like trying to keep awake. He looks up and says, "The one back there that we left behind, the mechanical being. I just
Yes.
want to let you know he or she it fought bravely to the end. Without that defensive line, the gates wouldn't have helped."
Yes, we are all alive because of them.
What did it have a name? Could I know more about it?
Yes, it is not my specialty, but if after you rest a bit, you could go to the Sovereign Union Hall, where they build all the constructs. Talk to, if you're interested, talk to Urum's SolidWorks, or you could go to Capricious Forge. They both work on those creatures.
I just nod and get back to getting rest.
So Strani and the remaining Duergar begin to lead you deeper into Kolpolt Rodstva. You are currently just in the battlements and the main city gate. It's not a very... I mean, it looks... As you're walking through it, it's quite vast. Kolpolt Rodstva is known for these shimmering blue and jade marble pillars and walls, and the sheer grandeur of its size. Um, the Duergar seem to have a penchant for creating very large open spaces in these underground areas. But in this area, it looks kind of empty because it is so large, and there's not a lot of Duergar defenses here left, or at least kind of a formal military of defenses. The Duergar that you start to see on the battlements look a lot more like militia, and they look like hardened soldiers. As you can see, they have little campfires here and there, and little tents that kind of contrast the hard stonework of the environment. The tents are all made of this kind of a collective scaly hides. There aren't exactly a lot of mammals to hunt down here to get their fur for these types of things. And you notice there's not a lot of like traditional kind of fur or hide armor or thing. A lot of everything is very metal and stone. But as you push, go ahead.
I was gonna say, seeing the state of the defense of Kiran Walastrani, how long have you been fighting off the Illithid menace?
It's hard to tell at this point how long it has been, but the bigger issue is that a lot of our forces are cut off by the blockade. Hopefully, with the hole we punched, it won't be filled quickly, so that some of the other Gloomstalker units can return from the outer outposts. We have, truthfully, more villagers and citizens in the city than we have soldiers. Everyone from the southern lands had to relocate here, and it has been difficult to find homes for them in the northern winterlands. So the city is actually quite overcrowded right now, from what I understand. But we have asked those who can fight and help to help. And you'll notice as she says that some of the people aren't even like armed or anything. They just seem like ready to help in some way. You see they might have a hammer or like a workman's hammer, not a combat hammer. And some of them are just sort of like helping out with building and crafting and whatnot and tending to what soldiers they do have. We don't have much need for standing army, just the Gloomstalkers to protect against the more dangerous wildlife of the Unterlands. But obviously that has changed. And you keep moving through, and generally she describes a little bit more history to you of the Duergar forces in Kolpolt Rodstva, and that it used to be a much more vaster army, and they used to hold a lot more lands in the Underdark, as you would have seen because you moved through a lot of Duergar ruins. But they have retracted pretty significantly. Even before the Mind Flayer threat, they had been retracting. But eventually you find there's a transition from this kind of military outpost to what you would classify as more of a city. It's not like cities that you're used to with the typical streets and everything like that. It's because it's all built into the underground. There is a large central circular chamber that is, for all intents and purposes, a town center. You can see there are different civic buildings that are all built into the stone walls. And then there are basically just it's a center, and then there's 4 vast gates that lead to different districts. You're walking through one right now that is heavily fortified. That's the gate. It comes from the military wing of this area, and Strani is leading you down the to the right to where the mending guild is. You can see this space is absolutely overrun with refugees and Duergar who are just kind of set up what best shelters they can in the city center, where you could also see several of them hanging around the kind of apartments and shops within the city center in the trade, because this is really kind of a trade district normally, not exactly a residential district. So there's people living in non-residential areas, sleeping on whatever they can. You can see they all cluster around the back gate, the gate directly across from the one you came through, which seems to lead towards the residential district. The one you're heading towards has a lot of bright lights. You could hear the sounds of hammers and stone cutting coming from it. The gate directly on the other side, you can see, has this eerie purple and pink glow that comes from it. And I would say those of you who speak Undercommon can kind of just read the names that are above each of these gates. You can see you're heading towards the Zavrin Union Hall. The one with the purple and pink lights is the Amaranthine corridor. You just left the Paragon Garrison, and then the one that in the back that leads to a more residential area is called the Hollow March. Timber, you would have seen all of this when you were led to the healing halls. Sarathil, you were unconscious on a stretcher, so you wouldn't have noticed any of this. But when you enter into the Zavrin Union Hall, there's definitely like a gate that leads into it that can be reinforced, but it's not as strong or well protected as the gatehouse of the Paragon Garrison. But you can see that as soon as you enter this space, it's a circular district. It's not very big. You realize even though the halls have these super vaulted ceilings and grand pillars, this city is not a metropolis. It's not meant to be a residential city. It seems to entirely be a trade and civic and military place. So even this district, which is an artisan district, is full of Duergar refugees that are just kind of hanging around and helping out where they can. All look tense and ready because they were literally just within a siege. So you see, like, people have little daggers that they at their side that they're putting away now. The workers, the crafters, are just starting to go back to their crafting as opposed to running supplies to the Paragon Garrison. In the center of the big circle, while you have all these shops built into the stone wall on the exterior, in the center there's a tall pillar of rock that leads to the ceiling that you can see carved into it is the visage of Fierce Soul, the god Drake, into the front of the pillar. So it's a big expanding tapered pillar of rock, natural rock, that a vast statue of Fierce Soul has been built in and inlaid with bronze. And you can see that statue leads down to a massive forge in the center, where you can see a very tall figure working. This is a temple forge, so it is both a commercial blacksmithery and it is an actual temple to Fierce Soul. You can see there's several public workstations all around it, public smithies, public forges for anyone who wants to craft. But there's one central one that's a little bit more elaborate. That is the forge of the forge cleric here, which you would see now, who is a super tall, red-skinned Freedy. The only person here I think would have encountered a Freedy before is Scarlet. But if anyone who has any kind of nature proficiency or anything like that, or arcana proficiency, can make a roll to see how much they know about Afridi.
I speak Primordial.
I'll allow you to make a roll if you speak Primordial.
You want me to roll, Sean? Or no?
No, your backstory, you know what you know.
Sure don't know anything over here.
Kieran will point to the statue of Fierce Soul, like nudging Scarlet and going, "Well, it's no wonder Fierce Soul joined us in our fight. I wasn't aware the Duergar worshipped him down here."
Neither did I. But yeah. Are you alright? Do you need a different position to walk?
No, it's fine. These old bones will continue on. Let's go see our friends.
Absolutely. So, there's all sorts of stuff here. I mean, Strani doesn't really point anything out. She's pretty focused on getting you to the healers. Strani would say, well, if she overheard you talking about Fierce Soul, she would say, the Dwergar are known for their love of both crafting and the elements, which God Drake, Smith Dragon, master of both. It is probably, I don't know how the surface is, but we worship him greatly down here. Kind of realizing this is probably the largest population of Fierce Soul worshippers in the entire continent. But you would see the Afridi is working hard on slag weapons. And you can see inside of the forge that he's working on, it's not a normal fire. You can see it almost looks like it is a fire elemental in there that is working with him on it. And he kind of just go ahead.
Let's just say, Kieran will say to Scarlet, we should pay our respects later for
Yes,
what
I was
the god
thinking.
Drake did for us.
I was thinking the same thing. I wouldn't mind looking at the forge as well. A little bit of home.
Of course.
The Afridi would look over and catch all of you walking by towards the Mender's Guild.
Hello.
Make eye contact with Scarlet and give you a nod.
I'll nod back.
And you can see they have Scarlet. They don't have like you. The Afridi you've seen in the past wear much more decorated armor and have like a lot more piercings and other things. This is a fairly unornamented priest of your soul. That clothing matches more of the Dwergar than anything else. But they do have that really, really red skin, bright, glowing amber eyes that you remember. Large black horns coming off of their head with the black hair coming down the back. It's hard to tell if Freedy's ages. They don't tend to age the same as non-elemental humans, or Genasi itself. But they are all very posing on their environment. Okay.
This wouldn't stir up any. I don't know how to ask this question because I don't remember my mother, but the Afridi is familiar to me.
Yes, and this would I'd say, well, if you want to give me a quick insight check, because this Afridi does match, like, this is a male Afridi, but it does match the description Wiswick gave you of your mother.
7.
Okay. So it might be curious to you. With time you might connect the dots. I'd say it's not exactly that 7's not a failure. It just means it's going to take you a little while to think about your mother and this Afridi. You do remember, I'd say immediately, that it's strange to see an Afridi not in Braxis Peninsula. They tend to stay there. So this is an oddity.
I'll lean over to Kieran, I would like to speak with them at some point before we leave. There's something very familiar. I can't quite put my finger on it just yet.
Of course, we'll need some time to rest and heal here.
Yeah.
Walking into the Mender's Guild, you would find that this is not, this is less of a like priestly healing center where people come and magically heal you, and it's much more a hospital. Like they're doing a lot more physical mending than magical healing, as you can see them currently. You can see Sarathil is in the back of the. They've kind of given a little Wayward Five corner where they have Sarathil and Timber. Sarathil is currently, well, I'd say they'd have been able to rouse you back to health. So Sarathil and Timber, you had a solid like hour to yourselves, where you were just one being intensively sewn up and healed, and you might even be like Sarathil. They definitely, once you were awake, some of the Dwergar would definitely be kind of like looking at you from a distance and writing down little notes, and then like pushing one of the other Dwergar doctors, like go, and most of them don't speak Common, so they can't really, there is this language barrier that's happening, which is always great when it comes to medicine. But there are these clusters of Dwergar that are like kind of talking and whispering in Undercommon about you, as one goes up and just kind of like examines you while like checking your wounds, but mostly you can see they're like just like testing like the arm. It's so lifelike.
Yeah. Well, in reaction to that, in Dwarvish, I would say I do realize I'm quite the anomaly.
And you see the kind of like what you would imagine is like the head doctor of these Dwergar looking at you would kind of perk up, and they would respond in Dwarvish. It is not every day that we get a what would you call yourself? Elfman?
Never quite thought of it myself, but I suppose just undead, if you wish, or maybe a more preferred term is reborn.
Reborn. All right then. Is it magically powered? How does your biology work? Do you? Do
He
you require
shits like the
food?
rest of us.
You see, they all look over at you, and
And
like,
sorry, that's
No,
the
go
only
ahead.
thing Timberlake says, and then everybody looks over. He's like,
He says, he says thank you for helping him as well.
oh yeah, they don't speak Common. See,
Never mind.
Like a
Never
nod to
mind.
you. Gives like the doctor gives a respectful nod to you.
as of course do I, and my abilities are magical in nature. I was once a Gwyn elf, same as any other of my race, but through the power of Ilyuvania, not sure if you know of her, she gave me life again, or I guess rather extended life.
Is Ilyuvania a powerful sorceress?
She was once a god. But her powers, she was very powerful. And she may be gone, but her powers still linger very strongly in this world.
Sorry for your loss. You might find the Amaranthine corridor an interesting place to visit. There's a lot of magical artisans there. Be very interested in your origins. But if you just seem like, and they kind of point to your book, and then you see like one of them kind of like picks up one of your hanging arms and drops it. You seem like you are interested in the occult and arcane. But if you do not mind, while we mend you, we will probably take a few notes on your condition.
By all means, I do appreciate the curious, and any questions you have, feel free to, of course, ask.
And he nods, and he then turns around and shoos the other Wergar medics away, and gives you some space before eventually coming back. But I'd say around this point, or a little bit after, you would see your friends walking in with Strani. You would have heard some commotion, saying like, the attack continues. They're still fighting. And then you would hear people say they've come back and it's like that. And you may have been tense for a moment hearing that there was still fighting going on and your friends were still out there, but now they're here and all alive. Definitely worse for wear. They all look pretty beat up. Even Scarlet, who still has health, but she took quite a beating. Oh wow.
Oh jeez.
That's pretty low. That's really low for you.
Very low.
Yeah. But healers, medics do rush up to each of you and help you, to the corner where your friends are, to your own little areas where there's plenty of water and other kind of elixirs, as well as Wergar ready to wrap up your wounds and begin helping to heal you.
Yeah, I imagine Mundy. I was riding Mundy the way here, and whether he fits in the door or whatever, but as soon as the medics come to assist, he like disappears into a cloud of celestial starlight, I guess.
Yeah, to several oohs and ahs in the room, as well as while you all were walking through the general kind of streets, you would occasionally find that there were little Dwergar children that were chasing after Mundy, I'll say, and legitimately chasing Mundy a little bit, like rushing up and grabbing at his tail as you move through. But you are kind of reunited now. The Dwergar are not necessarily like they're trying to be unintrusive, but heal up your wounds as best they can. I'd say.
I was gonna say, seeing Scarlet and Kieran coming in, I kind of just like lead up a little bit and be like, "Are we safe for now?"
For now.
Just kind of lean back and take some sort of reprieve.
Yeah, I would shoo the people that come to help me and just go help Kieran. I'll be fine. And then I'll go like sit down next to Timber and just like take a healing potion or something.
No, don't drink it too fast. You can't.
I know how to drink a healing potion.
No, okay, fine.
How is taking full advantage of all the
hospitality.
Thank you.
Yeah, Talray and Kieran, you get healed for 17 HP. Kieran, obviously, you don't get all of that.
17. 2. I get 2 of those.
But yeah, you are all back together, reunited.
Seems you've all been taken care of rather well.
It's much better, but looks like it's your turn now.
Yeah.
Here, you could stay in this bed. I kept it warm for you.
Oh, thank you.
The sheets might need to be washed, but sorry.
I'll go.
There's blood all over the
It's
In
fine.
dog
I'll
hair.
go over there. Yep. Do you
Dog
remember
hair should be everywhere, you know. That's just
It's
That's-
perpetual.
adventuring with
Yeah.
a, you
With a-
know, dog man.
Do you remember the days, Timber, when we would be in a tavern and you would just curl up at the end of the bed?
Oh yes, that was when I was afraid that people would stab me because I was a humanoid dog. So I just decided to be a dog. Yes. Hey, it worked out well.
It worked out very well.
I'll never forget that time. And
Oh, where I told you that I'm a good boy.
yeah, at Abe's house, right?
Yeah.
Abe?
Was it
Wait,
Abe?
no, it was Angus. Angus?
Angus, that's what it
Yes.
was. Yeah.
Wow.
Back at Angus' place.
So
So long
2.
ago.
Yes, we had beef with Angus. Do you remember?
Yeah.
God.
Wow, episode 2. Jesus.
So we saw the Harbinger.
You what?
Well,
Excuse me.
You did, didn't you? We didn't see him.
I used the royal we. No, I thought Scarlet was. I guess no,
No,
she gave me
no.
the divine intervention from the other
Yeah.
side.
Scarlet just basically what Scarlet thinks happened until you explain it is, well, no, because Scarlet was summoned to
Right,
the Fields of the Death, so you did get a full, you have a full understanding of what was happening to Curon,
Right.
but you didn't see the Harbinger yourself.
How much would Mundy know if I asked him on the way there?
Mundy would know that he helped Scarlet plea to the gods, and all he really understood was that whatever him and Scarlet were doing helped get you back. But the two of them and you would not have experienced the Harbinger. You would have just experienced, Mundy would have experienced Curon go down and Scarlet finish the fight and trying to bring Curon back, and then pleading to Fierce Soul for some kind of divine intervention, and then suddenly you guys were all in the Fields of Death, and then back.
Going back to Kieran's statement, what do you mean you saw the Harbinger? Did he materialize before himself or after?
No, I didn't
As
see him.
after you were taken away, those small insect-like creatures swarmed the gatehouse, knocking at the door. For lack of a better word, the brain emerged from the depths. It was really thanks to that construct, massive ones outside the gates, that we were even able to hold the line. With its dying thought, it pulled me into Carcery. And when I was there, I was met by the Harbinger himself.
You were pulled into Carcery?
Yes, my mind was.
Oh wait, just your mind, or
Yes,
Yeah,
my
his
body.
his body
was here.
stayed.
Reminder, Timber, that also happened to you
Yeah.
in the
since
session
they-
before, the very end.
oh right.
Yeah, you might not have known. You would have no. In reality, all you would know is that you were in Carcery and there was a scary man there, and then you were brought back. So I guess you wouldn't 100% know that was the Harbinger. You might assume, but it could
Okay.
also have just been a scary man.
Right.
Scary man.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I forgot about the scary man at the very end.
He got beat up pretty bad.
Yeah. No,
It was also at the very end.
Yeah,
of
I thought I
session
was
2 weeks ago.
hallucinating. I'm sorry. I lost a lot of blood, or brain cells, I should say. Oh, wait. Did he look like? Well, I wouldn't. I only knew the silhouette of him. I didn't have
I guess a defining feature you would have seen is that he had like the glowing veins of green on him and a tattered, broken red robe, and the glaive in his hands would be the defining features you would.
I ask
Saw.
Kieran those descriptors.
You don't ask, was there a scary man?
I begin with that.
Yeah, that's the nail on the head, is it?
So you were saying, wait, I saw him too. What? and you had to. And what did you do?
Had me to drag you out.
Right.
Trapped there with the Dwargar. If it wasn't for Scarlet and Mundy's help, he would have cut our souls to ribbons, left adrift. But luckily I wasn't alone. As Yuvanya has seen fit to always keep us all together. Always 5.
And you would see, as you kind of say that, Kieran, you would notice kind of he had gone with Timber and Sarathil. You would see Naldo's kind of in the corner, a different corner, kind of sitting on his own, almost like melded to the wall in the corner, but he just has like kind of Wiswick's head cradled in his palm.
Just shows how
Stony embrace.
just shows how far the enemy's reaches are now. How close we are to this final confrontation. If we lose the Underdark, Karsari will have a foothold in our plane. From there, their forces will march across the surface. We must ensure they hold strong down here and push back against the Illithids. But, as we all know, we can't stay here forever.
And you need to rest.
Of course.
Both of you do.
We all do.
What time of day is it? All right, it's not. We don't know.
You've no freaking clue.
Doesn't someone have a pocket watch?
Actually, someone. I don't remember who.
Mm.
Oh yeah. So yeah, you know exactly what time of day it is. It is. It's evening. At this point.
Okay.
It's probably around dinner time. You would actually start to smell the some grilled meats. Thankfully, these grilled meats are overpowering the scent of blood all around you in this hospital. Timber. I imagine when you first got here, when they were healing you, you were just like, get that shit away from me, and that's why they put you in this far off corner.
Fair.
But you would see this Dwargar is coming in with this cart that he's rolling, is like a mobile grill. You can see it's on wheels, but inside you can kind of see the flames kicking up over the grill lines. And you can see there's this big snail on the grill roasting. And you see they've cracked open the top of the shell so you can eat right out of the shell. And there's some like bowls hanging from it. And they just they're generally just handing bowls to each of the people who are sick here. Or injured here, and scooping out snail guts from the top.
What's the snail to butter ratio here, Sean?
Oh, like if you look in the bowl, you can see there's like a good 5-inch layer of liquid butter over the snail
Where do they
itself.
get
5
the blood
inches.
Yeah, it's
What kind of
5
pizza is this?
inches.
It gets a really good question actually, because there aren't
I don't
cows.
imagine there's mammals down here.
Nope. So I'm gonna say it's not butter. It's
It's bat
oil.
butter. Oh
Ew.
god.
Oh, and I
Ew.
guess bats would be the primary mammal species in here. So you know what?
Gross.
It's bat butter.
It's
They
bat milk.
they have giant bats in the Underdark. So.
I am so sorry.
So it's gonna be gamey.
And
It's
they're
gonna be
all
very
male.
gamey butter. But it's pretty gross. It's there. They love it. You see the Dwerg are
I can't get out of my head now.
ecstatic that this is what they're getting. Is they're getting some grilled rock slug, grilled rock slug with bat butter, with a good a good. But they do get to you all, and
Sorry.
and they serve each of you a bowl of sludgy slug guts that have been grilled.
I give mine
It's-
to Timber.
I don't know if Timber's even gonna like this.
You want-
I yell across. How are you supposed to eat this? Like this?
You see Ebediah is just absolutely housing one of these bowls. As you can see, he's just with his hands going in and just. And he looks at you, Timber, is eat up.
I'm gonna roll for this. Do a nice little dog tongue. Oh, it's really good. It's really good. And then I just start.
Yeah. You. There is a pungent garlic flavor to the bat butter. They've infused it with some kind of garlic equivalent down here.
To make it tolerable.
To make it basically it's the primary flavor in this is just overpoweringly garlicky.
Well, I'm glad I'm not a vampire. Joke.
I'm gonna heat mine up really, really hot so that I can eat it without tasting anything. And
It's
I
delicious.
think-
Scarlet, imagine you're basically like just burning it
Yeah.
you'd rather have the charcoal
rather-
taste.
Yep.
Scarlet, it's
100%.
delicious. Just stick your face in it. It's
No, I'm not sticking my face in it. No.
the spoon does not work, and your fingers are
not-
dirty.
I'm not eating with anything else other than a spoon.
Well,
And you see Ebediah it just looks really heartily over at Timber, really enjoying it. And you see he pulls his bag out, and you can see he opens it up, and you see he starts to munch on more food. You see he grabs something and crushes it and sprinkles it over. That'll be a crutch. And he hands it over to you, and you can see inside there are these dried insect husks that he then that are kind of, you can see they've probably been fried and covered in salt. And he just crushed a bunch and put it on top, and you see he's just housing it again.
What is this? The future?
This is Christmas.
I just eat the eggs, the insects. I don't even put it over it. Just
They're pretty good.
Pretty
Very, very crunchy.
Ugh. I eat half of mine and then just give it to Timber. Give the rest to Timber.
thank you.
I already had a good berry today, so yeah, I'm
All
set.
set.
I just fake sickness or like pains, and pass on the whole meal.
Yeah, it's that hospitality.
Mm.
Gotta have your manners. Okay. Strani would come up to you all and say, "It should probably rest tonight. I'm gonna go and see if I can speak with Garlemagne about getting you a meeting with him as soon as possible. I'm sure he'll be eager to talk to you. So it should not be long. Probably tomorrow, so you can get your rest tonight."
We appreciate it. We too look forward to speaking with the Gloamlord. I, for one, am very, very tired.
Yes, feel free to wander the city. It is not quite as large as your surface city, but there's not a lot of open shops right now, given the siege. but some of our crafters and artisans are still working, and wouldn't mind trading, I'm sure, or showing you what wares they have left. But I will see you all in the morning.
Thank you. Oh, I don't. Is she speaking common right now or undercommon?
She's speaking. I'll say she's speaking common there. So everything I just said, just a little bit more broken.
Sarathil, is
Mm.
is that effect still? Actually, I guess I could feel it. Is Mind Blake still on, or has it been 24 hours?
No, you put it on this morning.
Okay. I don't know if I want to do it this evening. Probably not, but I wanted to ask you if maybe you could remove it so that I could check in with my brother.
You want it removed for this evening.
I don't know if I should do it this evening. I mean, I don't know if he's been trying to get in contact or what, but I don't know. What do you think?
I suppose if that's what you wish, I could do that. Would you want to be alone for this, or do you think someone should be
No,
with you just to be sure
yeah,
that
no,
you're okay?
I don't want to be by myself. It's something could happen.
Looking over to Kieran, is like, I know you're quite close with him, but he looks like he needs a night's nest.
Yeah, I don't.
If it's fine with you, I could sit and make sure you're right. I've had quite a bit today to rest. And I'm assuming thanks to you. You're the last one I saw when we were out there.
Yeah, I did carry you over the gap, but I'm glad that you rested.
Sure, it wasn't too heavy.
And with
Thank
skin
you.
and bone.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarathil.
So just, do you want to do that now, or?
No, let's wait a little bit.
Kieran stirs in the bed next to this and goes, "In the morning, I can cast a spell. The temple that I cast back at the should allow you to speak to Reese, but he should not be able to spy on you in any way. Give you, and also during that time, Cirrus won't be able to act. So we'll have ourselves a small window where you are free. Choose with whom you speak."
I appreciate that, Kieran, but I don't want you to overexert yourself. You've been through so much.
Oh, it's fine. It's all Iluvania's magic anyway. I'm just a conduit for it.
All right. Thank you, Kieran. And I'll make Kieran think that, yeah, okay, we'll do that tomorrow morning, but we're 100% going to do it tonight because I don't want him to worry.
As you're talking through this, Sarathil, as this conversation is ending, you get a little spooked because suddenly, out of nowhere, right next to you is Abadiah. He just basically showed up next to you, and he's just like looking at the bowl of rock slug that was given to you. Abadiah? What?
I give him a gesture saying, "It's all right."
He grabs it and just starts to drink it and eat it with his hands. And you see he does slap you on the shoulder really hard with his hand that is absolutely covered in this greasy butter, and gets it all over your ancient robes.
Good. I'm not going to just say anything. I'm just going to give him a smile and just nod.
Gentlemen. And he goes and sits with Strani and not Strani left. He goes and sits with Dwergar number 3. Who just
I'm sorry,
smiles.
real quick. Abadiah, your friend there. What's their name? I've asked before, and they weren't forthcoming with the information. I just feel ill-suited for an NPC that's lasted so long with us to go unnamed.
I remember we named him. I just don't remember what it was.
I thought that was a joke.
It was a joke.
It was a joke. I definitely made something silly.
Your name? I do. Is what? Yeah, but I didn't do it. It's not good.
Did you say
He said
Ebediah number 2?
And then you see he looks at you. Yeah. And you see he kind of straightens out for a moment and speaks to you in Undercommon. Says, "Yes, her name is." Her name is Nogria. She doesn't. She prefers not to speak too much. She's a very private individual and can get quite anxious amongst crowds.
Responding in Undercommon, Kieran goes, "I'm sorry. You realize? Never mind. Thank you very much, Ebediah."
That's no problem.
Is Nagria also a Underdark mixed drink, which is just eggnog and sangria combined?
Oh.
Oh, yikes.
Oh,
Ew.
Nagria. Oh God.
Bad eggs also.
No, because it would also be. Oh,
Spider
God.
eggs. What do you mean?
Yeah, or fish eggs.
Oh, of course.
I don't know.
Bat milk.
Bat milk. Yeah. All right, folks. So it's it's not super late. It's but you are all pretty exhausted. Is there any wandering around the town that folks want to do on this night, or do you all want to rest right away?
Not doing anything specific. Just gonna take a little stroll around town, assess the area. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
Totally.
same.
Remember,
What was that, Scarlet?
do you want company?
If you would like to join me.
Sure. I'm a bit restless right now. I can't sit down. Sure.
You should probably just wrap up your wounds a little bit before you travel with me.
Yeah, you've got a lot of scratches all over you, Scarlet, from the swarms that were attacking you.
Would that be
You can
too
see like
much?
parts where there's swelling also, almost like big mosquito bites. Certain areas where they inject you with the poison that paralyzed you.
Would this be too much for you? I can stay.
No, that's fine. I'll just wear a car freshener on my nose.
Talray,
sorry,
without offering
Carriage refresher.
is
Carriage.
going to just. Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Talray, without saying anything to the two of them, is just gonna fly out the area and just take an aerial view. And he also wants to get away, but he's doing it in his own way.
Yeah, absolutely. And Talray, the ceilings of these cave town centers are very high, so you could definitely get a good view from up above.
Yeah, is it dark or is it all illuminated?
When you get up to the higher parts of the caves towards the ceilings is where it gets pretty dark. The ceilings are they're carved away, but they are natural rock. So it gets pretty dark up there, but it's probably honestly it's about 100 feet up. They have pretty high vaulted ceilings, so you can get a really good view. You notice once you get up there that there are nooks all throughout that do seem to be places where people can retreat to hide, or where gloomstalkers can hide if they need to attack from above or defend from above for whatever reason.
Talway's probably gonna seek one of these crevices out, like one that doesn't have anybody in it at the moment. Just politely, get close
Mhm.
to it and check before, making his own comfortable spot up there. and just peering down and just people watching, like keeping to himself from above. If he has a view of the city, he'll take it. If not, he just wants to be alone.
Yeah, absolutely. You won't have a view of the entire city because each district is separated into their own caverns, but you would have a view of the entire Union Hall.
Yeah, so I'll just spend maybe a few hours just watching the Union Hall, seeing if anything, strange happens, or, the day-to-day, whatever I can get from it without knowing the language.
Yeah, absolutely. You can go ahead and give me a perception or investigation check.
All right. I believe that I will take a perception, and I have advantage because I'm in the mountain. If that counts.
Yeah.
Nat 20.
Nice.
That's a 30 total.
Yeah, I mean, you get a pretty good read on this area right away, or over your time observing. You notice that there is, at first, it's very tense, and there's not a lot of people walking around because people are still in siege mode. They still are a bit afraid. But as their hours go by with no loud crashing attack on the gates echoing through the entire city, people seem to start opening up a little bit. You can see folks going and praying at the Forge Temple. People going and working at the workstations there. You can see the city starts to become lived in for this time, but there's nothing strange. Seem to only get less strange the longer you observe. You would probably notice at some point you would have seen the um, uh, more Dwergar forces, like actual forces coming in to check on things. You would see a few pretty well armored soldiers come in with two constructs flanking them, and they just seem to go through and seem to be checking on everyone. Really, probably just seeing if everyone is okay. Occasionally, you will see them come up to a larger crowd of refugees and look through them and talk to a few of the tougher looking men and women amongst them, and occasionally walk off with one or two of them.
Could I possibly, when I see them, going by, can I land near them and possibly go up and just, talk in common and say, can anybody understand me? Excuse me.
You would see as you're talking in common, there's a lot of confused faces looking at you. And some people maybe trying to say a few broken words in common, but you would actually um, hear from behind you a deeper voice from higher than these dwarves are, coming up from behind from that Afridi from the central temple forge. As he looks to you and gives a quick smile and says in this deep voice, "If you need, I can translate. Not a lot of folk in this city speak common tongue of the surface."
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, do they speak any other languages? I'm quite fluent in a few, just not Underdark.
They speak the Undercommon language, and they speak Dwarvish.
Yeah, sorry, not my forte. I would really appreciate your translations. I'm actually one of the adventurers that came into town. We were fighting earlier today, and I'm looking for a little bit more information about the mechanical folk that were defending the gate there. Uh,
Ah,
they were most useful in our battle. and I just want to make sure that they get the proper respects that they deserve.
And you see like the Afridi nods to you and kind of looks at the two construct warriors fighting beside or standing beside the Dwergar soldiers, and he nods to you and says, "I assumed you were one of the heroes. You don't see a lot of wood elves this deep in the crust of the earth. But yes, of course, I can help you. I can speak quite intelligently about the elemental defenders, these warforged. I have a hand in crafting them with Urim, stonecutter. But I am capricious.
Oh,
What is
yes. Somebody had mentioned your name to me as someone to talk to. Thank you very much. Your invention was mighty helpful. If there's anything I can do, maybe talk to, you know, the what was it? The king Garlemagne, I think was the name that I was told.
Yes,
You
the
know,
Gloamlord.
yeah, I think we have an appointment to talk to him, and I'll definitely put in a good word for you. You know, if there's do these uh mechanical beings, do they have names, or are they just machines that can configure to your whims?
Oh, not at all. They have their own minds and they have their own thoughts and feelings. Each has a name whispered to me once I infused them with the energy of the elemental planes, a gift from Fierce Soul. But each of these creatures, and he puts a hand up and kind of taps the stone, the carved stone of one of the structures, and the head does kind of turn and look to him. They don't have a lot of reactions, and they don't demonstrate a lot of emotion. Perhaps it's because of their duty that they're doing at the time. But he looks to it and does say, each of them has a name, and each is at its core and heart an elemental from the planes of fire, ice, water, wherever I can commune with to bless one of these warforged with spirit.
Very, very interesting. A little bit over my head. Uh, I'll be honest. Uh, the the draconic part of me sees a very important names. Uh, so if you don't wish to, if this is something precious that you don't want to share, I would understand. But the fey part of me believes that we remember the ones that lay down their lives for us, and if you would be so kind as to share the name of the the invention or whatever that was protecting us that day or earlier, I would greatly I would be in your debt.
You see, he nods and smiles, and kind of like comes closer, and he kind of like turns you to walk with him towards the forge. And he says, "I understand greatly. In the my old home of the Paraxis Peninsula, your name carries strength. And while I know and gift all of these creatures their names, and they are free to share it with whom they wish, I know each and every one of them and can gladly tell you who to honor, the Gate Defenders." And as he kind of finishes that statement, you get up to the forge, and you can see between the central forge that he works on has three openings to the fire elemental within, where you can see there's no fuel being burned in there. You just see a fire elemental that is heating metal anytime it goes in there and working with him. But in between each of those three openings, there are kind of these plaques that are carved into the stone wall, and you can see they go up really high on the pillar, and they have carved into them primordial words all over them. Each seems to be a name of some kind. And he looks and says, "At the front gates, the two defenders that fell protecting our city were Taros and Tumol."
So when he tells me that, I just nod gratefully, and I think I'll probably summon Mundy on the spot there, and just touch his head and speak a soft prayer in Draconic, only leaving the names to Primordial. Like, I'll say the prayer in Draconic, and then
Mhm.
when it's time to say the names, I say them in the native tongue. And it's something along the lines of, like, we don't forget those uh who fight by our sides. May your souls, rest in peace wherever they may be. The great Gloamlord watches over us all, where throughout the multiverse, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And you see Capricious does kind of give he kind of stands back and puts his hands crosses his hands and kind of doesn't know what you're saying but listens. And you see when you summon Mundy, though, you see he does smile really wide at Mundy, excitedly seeing a dragon. You notice now all his teeth are gold, and have like it looks like they have like etched runes in them. And he immediately looks to Mundy and bows quite low to the dragon. And then he comes up, he says, "To have a Drake companion is a great, great honor. Dragons are well respected where I come from as creatures of the elements. You appreciate both crafters' inventions, names, and the dragons. You're welcome in this forge whenever you wish."
Have you ever heard of a Drake Warden before?
Drake
And
Ward.
yes, I believe that other god drakes such as Fierce Soul might have had worshippers at some time similar to myself, that were held in high regard. I come from a smaller god drake. I don't know if you're familiar with the Tales of Gloamlord, but he has given me a respectful full title in charge of defending his matters, we'll say.
Well, to be gifted the companion of one of the flight is a great honor from a god drake. I have not heard of Gloamlord, but the lore of the dragons is disparate. We don't get a lot of new outside knowledge here. Not heard of Drake Wardens. I've heard, of course, of Forge Clerics as myself. I've heard of the Paladin houses of the Dragonborn, devoted to the god Drakes. But I suppose each dragon has their own sort of servants, worshippers.
Sure. I believe that they all have their penchants and the like. I've met a few of them. I could definitely tell you some stories. I don't know if you'll believe me. It might dissuade you from, your typical, understandings of the god drakes. Glowmoon's a bit of a troublemaker of sorts, so we get into some, crazy stuff sometimes. I'm usually there to be a calming, no, I'm usually just an observer. I don't usually say anything. He causes all the problems.
Well, if there's anything that people know me for, it is I'm a great listener. And I hear a lot in this city while I work. If you
Well,
wish to tell me some stories, I'd be happy to listen while I work.
I'll tell you what. I've got some friends here that would love to meet you, I'm sure. And I think you're a really stand-up guy for helping me out. I'll tell you every story that I can possibly think of until your ears bleed. I'll tell you what. And maybe if you like them, you could do your little forge thingy and make a gift for my god, or perhaps some of my adventuring pals. They seem to really like the stuff that you guys put out here.
How precious. Yes. Come, join me. I'll pour you a drink. And while I work, you can tell me these stories. And I hope to meet your friends.
And
That's exactly why I left the Paraxis Peninsula, is to meet new, interesting faces. And you can tell he kind of like he's significantly tall. Like this guy is like 10 feet tall, and it's hard to tell if he's like thinks you're an interesting person or like are like adorable. Like he seems to treat a lot of he almost seems to treat everyone like a really adorable child, telling them stories. Occasionally, if you start to tell him stories, he'll occasionally drop in like, "That's very interesting." Um, he is a great listener, but it's hard to tell if he is not condescending is not the right word, but like if he thinks you're a really interesting person or just kind of looks at you as a curious, almost toddler in his eyes.
Yeah, I imagine I see that in him, kind of like the elderly, um bravado or whatever you want to call it. So
Mhm.
I start off with a very tame story about, Glomung, just like coming back with something strange and me like, joking about it. And then we find out that, it was, Bayoret's, left tooth or something like that, that he went to, like, he caught, like, when it was like sleeping, or he like made him like was playing dentist or did some silly thing. uh
Yeah.
and it just gets increasingly less believable the longer I go. Eventually, it's like these are stories that were told secondhand to me, and
Yeah.
I wasn't available. I wasn't around for most of them, but I've seen, like, partial evidence.
Yeah.
Possibly. I say essentially and possibly a lot when I'm joking about it, but I try to keep things as lighthearted as possible, and I try very hard to make him laugh.
And you would absolutely, as your stories get more outlandish, you would definitely catch guffaws here and there from Capricious uh, as he continues with these positive affirmations as you tell the story. This Glomung sounds like quite the scamp, quite the troublesome god.
Let's be real. You could call him a scoundrel if you want. I know that's what you were thinking.
The god drakes are varied, and I suppose there's need for scoundrels as well. But he
Hey,
seems to have brought you great joy in your life, and that is a beautiful thing.
wouldn't have it any other way.
And while this conversation is continuing, you tell these stories. Timber and Scarlet, where would you like to start wandering around? You like to stay in this district or move through the other ones too?
It doesn't matter. Timber was just gonna just take in the scenery and then go back to rest. That's what his
Okay.
initial plan was. But
I'm
if
just along
Scarlet,
for the ride.
yeah, if Scarlet has anything to say or
Sure.
whatever, or if she's just joining me to enjoy yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind walking past the forge just to see what's happening there. We don't need to go in.
Sure, let's go do that.
Yeah. So as you're walking about, I imagine you would actually probably find Talray telling these stories to the Afridi, already seeming to have gotten chummy with him as Talray, I imagine, is just like has these like the Afridi just keeps pouring more drink for Talray as he's telling these stories and just is like working on this slag hammer.
Reminds me of Wiswick. He liked to tell
Alright.
stories too.
Oh, hi. Let me introduce you. These are my friends, Timber and Scarlet. They came with me. They're nice-ish.
You see, Capricious would look to you too and give you a nod. Pleasure is mine. Welcome to the Temple Forge. I'm
Beautiful.
Capricious.
I'm just kind of like taking it all in.
Do you have any
I'm
more of
still
that drink?
saying my story. Yeah, I'm like I just hand him some of the drink as I keep talking this whole time until somebody stops me.
If you drink it, it's got a very deep anise flavor. It is definitely like you're not sure what kind of alcohol it is. It's could be wine, could be beer, could be mead. It's definitely alcoholic, but it's hard to tell. Definitely not liquor, but it is definitely a strong black tar-like substance that has this anise flavor. It's fantasy Jaeger.
Got it. All right. Timber's just gonna like walk back to like the street. He's like, "Let me know when you're done, Scarlet."
You do what? Okay. So now I'm just standing there awkwardly because I don't really like Talray, and this is a stranger. So
Yeah.
awkward.
He would look. Capricious would look to you, Scarlet, and say, "You're a child of rock and fire."
I am, and you wouldn't, perchance, know about the Praxis Peninsula, would you?
I'm from there.
I figured. I think I knew someone from there. I used to live near it, actually.
Cindermire.
Yes.
A lot of the children are there.
Well, they were. Not anymore.
You're quite far from Cindermire.
Yeah. It's a haunted place for me, unfortunately. But I did I had a forge there. Well, my father did. So I know my way around the forge.
Was your father a worshipper, the Smith Drake?
He was. Yes.
What was your
He had
father's name?
Lander.
Lander. Your father Lander?
You knew my father?
Dumaine.
Yes.
I remember the names of almost everyone I meet.
That's him, yes. Did you ever meet him?
Yes. I left Paraxis Peninsula. I did pass through Cindermire. Many years ago. He's still there?
No. No, he
Finally got the smarts to leave that small village to sell his perfect wares.
No, he died. He died.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was a long time ago, but thank you.
Will you light an offering at the forge for him here?
Yes. That would be lovely.
And you see he steps over and takes a crucible and gathers up some metal, some different bronzes, and places it in the forge. And you can see the fire elemental. You see a hand comes over and just sort of engulfs the whole thing. You can see it rapidly melts the bronze. You see he takes some large pliers to grab it. He seems to use those really just to reach into the forge, and then you see he takes it firmly with his hand entirely. You see no burning seems to happen. There's some steam and sizzle, moisture on his hands, but he takes it over and he beckons you to come over deeper into the forge, the proper temple area, where you can see there are several like candles lit around different vigils. You can see on part of the stone wall there are these little small brass um, uh, squares that are kind of hammered into the wall. And you see he takes out a mold and pours the bronze in, and a small square appears, and you can see he waves his hand, and some elemental magic rapidly cools it down, and then he even uses his hands, and you can see he's not using a saw, or not a saw, a grinding stone or anything to perfect it. He's using magic, and elemental magic to do so. And you see very rapidly, he seems to almost be writing in the air as it quickly written on the etched into the metal is Vander Domain.
Mender.
Did I say Vander?
You sure did.
I got arcane on the mind.
Yeah.
And he hands it to you, and hands it what looks like a fierce soul hammer, exactly like yours, to you, to hammer it into the wall.
I don't have mine. No, mine's in the bag. Thank you. And just kind of like overwhelmed with the kindness this stranger has offered, and remembering my father as he was, as well as the last time I saw him, all bronze in the Fierce Soul's plane. Domain. Yep. Thank you. I'll step up to the wall and just kind of like hold it close and looking at it and kind of smile and just say, I love you, Papa. And I will stick it into the wall and hammer it.
Yeah, and you would hear Capricious mutter under his breath in Primordial. May Lander Domain join mighty company of Fierce Soul beyond.
I will say the same thing in Primordial from the background.
Thank you.
Your father was very kind to me in a town that despised folk Araxis Peninsula.
He was always good like that. What do you remember about him, if you don't mind me asking?
This was many years ago. He was quite a ambitious young man. I had met him on the road. He was shockingly close to the Paraxis Peninsula.
Right.
Inside, actually. It's as if he had been visiting. moved quite confidently through the wastelands, the barrens.
But I put it together now that this is where my mother was from the description was what cave.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he must have been going to see my mother.
Well, I assume your mother is from the Paraxis Peninsula if your father is Lander.
Did
You're
you
still
know?
a child of rock and fire. Come from somewhere.
Did you know how to?
I didn't. I could have. Don't know. I don't know who he was visiting. But the clans are tight-knit. Paraxis Peninsula. Chance I may have known your mother. Remember anything about her?
I don't remember her. I know that she existed, but I don't remember her. I only have a description someone else gave me, and I'll tell him what was told me from the vision.
It's been many years, decades since I've been there. Not sure.
It's all right.
She's still alive.
I don't know. I think so.
Well, I hope you find her.
I hope so too. Sorry, I've been keeping you from your work. I should go find my friend.
Nonsense. Go where you must, but fellow worshipper of the Smith Dragon, there's always time. The daughter of an old friend.
Yeah, you shouldn't feel too beat up about it. I've been distracting him for much longer.
I kind
It's
of.
been very, very interesting.
He definitely thinks you're adorable. When he says daughter, I kind of cringe a little bit. But just shake it off. Thank you, and I'll turn around and go find Timber.
Once she gets back, she'll like see Timber like pretty close by, and then Timber like, that was very touching. I heard the whole thing.
You
What?
came in?
No,
thought
I
you were
just
go-
It's an open air forge.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
also my hearing is pretty good.
Yeah. I haven't talked about my father in a long time, and I just opened up to a complete stranger. I don't understand why. Maybe it was.
Well, you opened up because he opened up. He knew your father, so why not try to extract more information from him about it? That was quite touching.
I never really got to say goodbye to him properly. So
When did you last see him? How old were you? I'll ask.
18. It's 12 years ago.
And is that when you left the peninsula?
Wasn't in the peninsula.
Oh.
He was murdered, Timber.
Did you witness it?
Yes.
By who?
Syndicate members.
Oh.
It's the same day they took Reese. Killed him and took him.
more fuel for the fire.
Lots of fuel.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Meanwhile, Talray is listening to this whole conversation and is speaking in Primordial like, whoa, this got real heavy quickly. I don't think we're supposed to be listening to this.
Then perhaps we should not be listening to it,
Yeah.
he says to you in Primordial.
In here, I can't help it. I'm really sorry.
I understand entirely. Like I said, I hear a lot of things in this city. My little forge. But, moving forward, if you walk around a little bit, you just notice kind of sights of the city. There's the Timber, you would kind of walk in the streets, you would find there is the other two districts that you would be able to look at. There's the Amaranthian corridor, where you would find probably the two most prominent shops there are one that's called the Gorgon's Reach, one that's called the Seer's Sanctum. One looks like is clearly an alchemy shop, and the other one is some kind of magic enchanting place of business. This general area is a little creepier, though, than the rest of the city. There's no lanterns in here. Everything is lit just by these glowing purple and pink veins of ore that go through all the walls in this area. The air in this corridor has a distinct cinnamon taste in here. But it's not a lot of folk are like just walking in this. You can really only see the different small shops where you might notice a Dwergar kind of hiding from you and Scarlet as you take a few steps in here. You might even not even stick around in here because it's pretty creepy. But there is a magic store and an alchemy shop.
I just want
Maybe-
to say that I stayed behind to discuss some more things.
Sure thing.
Maybe we should come back when we have a translator. I don't know if everybody here speaks common.
So let's go check on the other two.
Yeah. We've seen enough of this place.
Wisbrook, was there anything else particularly you wanted to do with Capricious?
Is he dead?
Tell Ray.
I'm not gonna say any more about gifts or anything like that, but I do want to get a little bit more serious with him and discuss basically what happened in the battle and the flaws in the defensive wall protection issue, because we did have that creature bypass the moat by climbing from below, and these creatures can go through those little slots in the arrow slits, and the mechanical elemental warforged were putting up a good fight, but once they were immobilized by tentacles or anything along those parts, they needed an extra line of defense for them to be effective. And I can't, basically I said, we're not going to always be around, and if me and my friends weren't here, you would have fallen. And I reiterate once again that I'm going to try and get you more support, so that way you can continue your work, because I believe that you're this city's only hope at this point.
Yeah, and he was listening. He completely stops working when you start talking like this, and you can see that it definitely, his attitude towards you shifts to a more peer. He sees you more like a peer as you talk this way. Yes, I'll have to work with Urim, potentially get another audience with the Gloamlord. Your support is appreciated for the work.
I do, like I said, I do have an appointment to see the Gloamlord, I believe tomorrow, with my pals. if you wanted to tag along, I'm sure it wouldn't be too much of a bother.
No, I need to speak with my partner first. No, thank you. I do appreciate this, and we will look to reinforce the city as best we can. The resources the Gloamlord can give us. More forged clerics, more stonework from Urim. I think we could improve our defenses against this new threat. Thank you.
After, that whole thing, I say, well, I guess it's about time I get going. If I spend all night chatting your ear off, then I'm sure the others might, be a little concerned about where I am. Sometimes they don't pay me no mind, but eventually I'd assume that at least Huron would be a little worried about me. So I better head back. Um, could I leave Monday here with you just for the night? Maybe he might bring along some more support, or you could use him. He's quite helpful to have around. He's not um he doesn't take kindly to instructions, but he is quite cute and stuff.
You would see, you were just kind of talking quite seriously, and his brow had furrowed, and his face got a lot sterner while you were talking. And you watch, as soon as you mention this, it all melts back to that, uh, uh, we find that sort of softer listener that he was before. And you see he kind of snaps his fingers, and then he starts to open up some drawers at the workstation, and you see he pulls out this long bejeweled bronze rod that has several gems in it, and you see he holds it up and shakes it, and you see Mundy's eyes go wide, and the pupils go wide, and Mundy just kind of immediately starts to like crawl forward towards it, like a cat towards a toy that is being held up. And he looks to you and says, "It would be an absolute pleasure to have such a lovely companion to stay with me for the night."
Oh ho ho, you know the key to their hearts. Those dragons, they do love them gems.
Yes, of course. And you see he kind of tosses it up in the air, and he's very tall, so it goes really high up. And Mundy kind of jumps up, doesn't even need to fly up, just kicks off the ground and goes high enough to catch it, and then glides swirling around the entire area down in front of him. You can see several refugee children start chasing underneath Mundy as he floats down slowly, kind of trying to keep up in his shadow as he comes down. And then Capricious will give you a nod. He'll be safe here, and I'm certain he'll be an excellent help around the forge. As he kind of scratches Mundy behind his horns and takes the rod out and then starts playing with it again with him.
Yeah, quick draconic command to behave, and I'm out of there.
Mundy does. There is a moment as you walk away where Mundy does kind of like watch you walk away, kind of to see if you're going to come back. But then as soon as you get far enough away, turns and continues playing with Capricious. All right. So you all are back in the Mender's Guild. Before we move on to anything else you want to talk about, before the evening ends and you prepare for your meeting with the Gloamlord, we're going to take a quick break. So we'll be back in 5 minutes, folks. Please stick around as we get into some more sweet roleplay.
again.
Welcome back to Advantage in Paradise, our actual play D&D show set in our homebrew world of Aradun. So our heroes are getting some much-needed rest after defending the fortress city of Kolpolt Rodstva, and Scarlet and Talray and Timber have met an interesting Afridi forge cleric named Capricious, who knew Scarlet's father, and is very much so enjoyed the company of Talray and the stories he tells, but also the important strategic suggestions that he had for the defenses of the city. Now they are all returned to the Mender's Hall, the Mender's Guild, to rest up so that they can start planning the next steps of their journey, and prepare to meet with the Gloamlord leader of this city tomorrow morning. So you are all back in the Mender's Guild. I imagine Sarathil has been
Just resting.
just resting, occasionally maybe getting poked and prodded by some Dwergard medics. And Kiran, I imagine, has also been deeply resting. But the other three join you all in there. What would you like to do?
Suppose we should rest up. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, is Kiran up?
Is Kiran up? Or is he sleeping?
To any passing person, he looks asleep.
All right, I'll probably save it for the morning then.
Okay. Is there anything anyone would like to do, or are we taking our long rest?
I would like to go over to Sarathil and making sure Kiran is sleeping, or looks like he's sleeping.
Sorry. Sarathil will be like kind of like eyeing you occasionally because he knows that you want to be subtle. So if you just give him a gesture, it'd be easy enough.
Yeah. So as everybody else kind of drifts off to sleep around us, I'll kind of just like I'll catch your eye and just do a little nod. And then once everybody's asleep, I'll walk over. Do you think we should? Well, I don't know. Should we stay here? Should we go somewhere else?
Well, I'm actually not too familiar with whatever it is you're about to experience. Will you be sleeping? Will you be in trance? Will you be moving physically?
I do have to fall asleep. Well, first I need to send him a message, which I can do. And then I need to fall asleep and see if he will respond.
All right.
So maybe it is good that we stay here.
I was about to say the same thing. If you just lie down over there, I know you don't want to make Kieran worry, so make it seem like you're falling asleep. Well, actually, you need me to drop the spell first.
Rich.
Yeah, before you do, if anything goes wrong, I still have the magical manacles on, but they're not active. So I'll just show you if something starts to happen, just push the button.
I had to push it on the manacles on her wrists. Okay. Okay. Can do. And I know that you did once have a strong connection with your dagger. Do you think it'd be wise to maybe have me hold on to it for now as well?
Yes, but it shouldn't be near me, because it will find its way back into my hand, and without mind blank, we do not want that to happen. So maybe we just... Oh, because I had it. Okay, so yeah. No, then I... Maybe slip it back into Kieran's bag, or just... I don't know, don't sit near me.
I'll break the spell, and once you go lie down, I'll rummage through the bag and place it in there.
Right.
concentrating. I guess, Sean, I'm not quite sure. Can I drop the spell myself, or I'm going to have to dispel my own spell because it's not necessarily a concentration spell?
That's a good question. I think that generally, you can quite easily dispel your own magic.
Just
It's
wanted to make sure.
not going to require any kind of roll or anything.
So that-
I would say it will use a spell slot of just third level dispel magic.
Sure.
But it can drop it very easily.
Then that said, I will use third level spell slot. I'll reach up 2 fingers, touching the gem on the tiara that is on my head while gesturing towards her, and dispel the mind blank that's on her. And I imagine she'd get a sensation back that she once dreaded.
Yeah, there's kind of like the feeling is just intense anxiety welling up all at once.
Oh, yeah.
Just like it's not that you are immediately vulnerable. It's just a presence.
Yeah.
Is felt.
Okay. It worked. Thank you. I'm gonna go do. Thank you. And I'll go lie down on a spare bed, and I'll make it look like, to anybody who it looks like I'm falling asleep, but like I'll kind of like have my hands here, and I will use one charge of my tattoo sending to him to Reese.
Okay.
Or I fall asleep. I didn't write it out. Okay, somebody's gonna have to count for me. I don't know if you've been trying to contact me. If you have, I want to speak again. I'm going to sleep now.
Yeah. 4 more words.
That's okay. I don't need to use them.
Okay.
I'll take it while she's doing that. I'll head over to the bag of holding, and put the dagger in it.
Okay. Yeah. Kieran, you hear all of this, and clearly do as you wish.
When Sarathil comes by to put the dagger in the bag, I imagine his hand is like halfway into the bag, like being like, "How do I put this down?" And Kieran's hand just kind of not shoots out, but like reaches up and grabs his arm, and without opening his eyes or anything, just goes, "Keep a close eye on her. I fear sometimes she stares into what she fears most, when it might be best to wait."
Kind of surprised at the reaction at first, like, and then just kind of relax and be like, I will.
Okay. Scarlet, you don't get a response sending, which maybe makes it a little difficult to fall asleep at first, but are injured and tired enough to easily fall asleep. Timber and Talray, is there anything you all are doing, or are you guys going right to sleep?
Timber's going right to bed. I mean, he would. Yep, no, he's going right to bed. Unless he has like some reason not to, or like he hears some weird stuff going on, where arises any suspicion that some shenanigans is going on.
Yep,
he's going right to bed.
Yeah. Other than Scarlet and Sarathil colluding, there's nothing too interesting going on around.
Yeah, I mean, like Timber wouldn't think anything of it. He'd be like, "Oh, okay, they're just chatting."
Yeah. Absolutely.
Same here. None of my business.
Cool. All right. So, as you all rest, Sarathil, you're kind of there standing vigil as they're all asleep, or Kieran's resting his eyes. And the Mender's Guild is quite quiet at this point. The lights in here are all kind of dimmed. The candles are lowered. The braziers are put out. Scarlet, you would have that sudden feeling of wakeful dreaming. As you kind of wake up in your exactly where you went to sleep in the last dream, in your bunk bed, in your childhood home.
I look up to the top bunk. See up there? Like the
There's no depression there. He's not in the top bunk.
Okay. I go over to the balcony that overlooks the forge. Do I still see my father on the floor? Our father on the floor?
You don't, but you do see the bloodstains.
Okay. I'm usually the one that goes to him, so I'm gonna sit on my bed and make him come to me.
You might be waiting a while.
I got all night.
There would be a point where you would hear a whistle come from outside. A really loud, the 2-finger, really loud mouth whistle coming from the outside of the house.
I'll get up. And I'll just open the door and look out, see if he's back there.
It's interesting because you've really only stayed inside the house in these dreams.
Mm.
When you go outside, there's the town of Cindermire is kind of like only half there. It's almost ethereal. Like the houses are more like odd, shadowy shapes. The sky, it's nighttime. The sky is much, like the clearest night possible. See all manner of stars all around, clusters of stars. It's quite beautiful. You can see up the road. You can see Thatcher is just kind of walking in the town square towards the high up hill that leads towards the Praxis Peninsula.
Remembering the many times that he used to do this, I'll go down the back staircase and start to follow him at a distance.
Yeah, he's just walking up there right now. He seems to be ignoring you, but you do see that he looks back and sees you following.
Okay. I'm trying a completely different approach to him tonight.
Mhm.
So I'll catch up. I won't like run, but like I'll walk faster than he is, and I'll catch up until I'm next to him. And whenever he stops, I'll stop. I'm not saying anything just yet.
Okay. As you're walking with him now, there would be a point when you catch up that he does stop to like let you catch up, and then continues walking, not really making eye contact with you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make eye contact with him either.
I thought you'd finally chosen to ignore me.
Not yet.
That shouldn't be too hard.
Do you remember walking along this when we were younger? Tried to come chase you. She went too far.
Maybe. But that's a different person's memories.
Still yours as well.
Are you going to be there next month? The wolf tell you about the meeting?
I don't know.
Well, I'll be there. You'll know where I am if you wanted to talk. I know we can talk in these dreams. I don't care for them anymore.
I met someone who knew Papa. Completely changing the subject and interrupting him mid-sentence.
He completely stops walking. You might even take a few steps without him for a moment. He doesn't respond, but his face kind of looks... there's slight twitches around the scarring, and he looks angry.
He was very kind. He let me offer an offering up to your soul in his memory, because I never got to say goodbye. Do you even remember him?
And he kind of walks really aggressively past you, almost bumping his shoulder into you, and keeps walking faster now. Of course I do.
What do you remember about him?
Remember, a weak man couldn't defend his children.
My temper flares at that one. What do you mean by that? He gave us everything. Wasn't he?
He couldn't protect us. You couldn't protect us. I have no interest in these memories. And he starts walking much faster away.
I want you to remember them.
There's no value in it.
Sure there is.
What are you trying to accomplish here, Rowan?
Just thought you'd like to know. Thought you'd like to be reminded of a simpler time.
There's no need to remind me. That is... Those memories don't matter anymore, though. There's no use romanticizing them, Scarlet. Whoever you are.
Your sister.
You're
Yes.
Scarlet.
I'm Rowan.
You're Blood Raven.
I'm Rowan.
There is no Reese. And he started running.
I'll give him a head start. After him.
Okay. He gets pretty a lot further than he would have before. But he does eventually stop, even in this dream, panting.
What are you running from? You can't run away from the memories. They're always going to be there.
I could lose a few like you.
You don't want that to happen. It's maddening.
Oh no, I would beg to lose some of these parts. But back to business. This isn't a personal call. I'll be in Cairdolan on the 15th of Villid Glum. You want to see the show?
Thank you for what you did. Don't think I said it before. Thank you.
Well, there's more where that came from. In Cairdolan.
Don't do anything drastic.
I don't know what you mean, Scarlet. It's pretty laughable coming from you. Now that I can see some of these memories of yours. Oh, that day we met again, rushing into the streets while your friends were back at the tavern. A chance of an old friend. And that brash attitude didn't get him very far. Oh, and I recognize your work. Recognize your butchery. And you see, he's now like, you can see like that. He was strangely soft, kind of weirdly in the beginning of the stream.
Mm.
He seems to be twisting back into more Thatcher-like behavior. And you see he kind of stops. He's had his kind of like back turned to you, panting, and he turns around and comes like really aggressively towards you and puts his hands over your eyes to the point where it almost pushes you back a second. And you can, everything darkens and he pulls his hands away. You're in a wine cellar. There's a single light lantern glowing in the middle of the room. You can see in a man with his throat slit in a chair, and you see the body of your old friend Amelie on the floor that you murdered while you were serving Cirrus. I'll admit, I didn't at first think it was you, but
It wasn't me.
Well, you know, those memories are there.
Yes,
Maybe
I
you.
did it, but it wasn't me. It wasn't Crowan.
Oh, you can't escape those memories. Really bright, strong, ambitious woman. Shame. She did good work.
Are you talking about Bloodraven?
No, I'm talking about Amelie, the friend you murdered. And this guy, well, you know, collateral damage, I suppose. Or were you here to kill him?
No, I wasn't.
Oh.
She wasn't.
Well, I suppose it's a good thing that his daughter didn't see you. She's safe. We've left them alone.
Good.
Yeah. You were successful in delaying what we needed from the Valarians. Definitely made things more difficult for me. But it's all over now. The 15th of Philogloam.
You know, you're never going to fill the voids in your soul by making other people miserable.
Oh, I wasn't aware that's what I was trying to do. No, I'm here to fix things. Do what our weak father couldn't do. What
Wasn't
you
weak.
can't do. He was.
Wasn't.
Couldn't help our mother. Couldn't help us. Oh, that's right. You don't remember her at all. Probably for the best. But no, he couldn't protect us. It's 3 goons with dull daggers.
I'll just I'll. He's still close. I'll push him and just start storming off somewhere, maybe up the stairs of the wine cellar.
I've seen these people. They work for me now. They're not that hard to kill.
I don't want to talk to you anymore.
Well, you know how to leave the dream. I'll be here. If you walk out, you walk up the stairs and open the door, and it opens back up to your childhood bedroom.
I'll go and just lie down in my bed.
It takes a little while to fall asleep. Reese, Thatcher does not come back into the room and go to the top bunk. But you fall asleep. You do not get attacked with the saving throw of the dream spell.
Good. That's something.
But I do need you to give me a wisdom saving throw.
Yeah. 9.
As you drift to sleep, there's a dark void that you enter, where you kind of are just expecting the typical, as it has happened every time you've done a victim of the dream spell, where you just wake up and then kind of have to struggle to go back to sleep. But the shadow stays, and you feel your body freeze up, almost like sleep paralysis.
No.
You feel a little bit of agency return to your body, and you struggle a bit, almost as if against binds. You feel like almost like you're chained up. You suddenly can feel you're not like you can breathe. You feel the presence of fluid around you, like you're in a tank.
Can I talk?
Yes.
Sarathil?
Sarathil, you would just notice Scarlet is kind of like twitching in her sleep right now, and there's a pained expression on her face. She's not talking in real life. She's not talking in front of you.
Sarathil?
It's just some subtle twitching. Just gonna keep an eye. I'll kind of just look more intently, but
Alex knows how to get out of this one.
Your friends aren't here. You are alone, daughter. Always alone, unless I am with you.
So true.
You feel the presence of the Cirrus trying to wiggle back into your mind.
I want to fight it.
Give in. Give me another wisdom saving throw.
This one's worse. It's a 4.
Your eyes kind of rapidly open as you can taste blood in the water as you're struggling against these, and you can see now chains all around you. And you are in the tank again, in the flesh chamber, and you're kind of struggling. You can taste that blood in the water, and you look up and you can see through the screen of the tank, really close to it, completely surrounded by darkness. You could just see the pale face of the Cirrus. Just this strange oval, almost as if like she has like shadow completely enveloping around like cloth. You can see those red eyes glowing in the black sclera. The elongated, thin, gaunt face, the red lips, and the sharp fangs underneath. Kind of that desiccated look of non-attention that she's staring at you. Just staring right up close to the glass.
It's away from me. I'm not your daughter.
They're all sleeping. An opportunity, Blood Raven.
Sarathil.
What is your name?
Do I have to answer? Because I failed the wisdom save. My name is Blood Raven.
Is nothing changing physically?
I would say at this point, when this starts, she's starting to thrash in her sleep.
If she's thrashing in her sleep, I'll hit the manacles immediately and then try to proceed to shake her and wake her up.
Okay.
How thrashy is she being?
Definitely enough for Curon to hear if he's still awake. And you would
All right.
definitely hear the sound of the magic initiate on the manacles.
Right. So at this point, Kieran kind of like rolls out of bed, and trying to get himself back up, and goes, "This is why we need to wait and do things properly," he says as he heaves his body over to assist Sarathil, and he'll go, "What's wrong? What happened?"
She was sleeping not fine just a second ago, but now she's starting to flail. She put the manacles. They're attached now, but I can't seem to wake her up.
I haven't had enough
Timber?
time.
You're
You're muted.
Sorry. How loud is everything? Like, how loud is everybody?
It's pretty. Yeah, you're all pretty close to each other, so
Okay.
This would definitely, if you want to wake up, this would wake you up.
Oh yeah. I imagine Timber would spring up out of bed and be like, "What's going on? Why are you guys fighting? Why is she thrashing?"
She's caught in. She went to sleep. She wanted to talk to her brother.
Oh shh.
I'm sure now the Cirrus is finding her way in. It has to be, or Thatcher's doing some of that dream magic.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Give me some space. I'm going to sit on my bed and cast Dream on Scarlet.
Excellent. I'm going to ask you to give me a straight wisdom roll, Timber.
Oh, God.
Oh God.
It's a natural.
Oh God.
Do I get advantage for some reason? Because I prey upon the gods that.
Because you're a ranger and you're in the mountains.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, this doesn't. This is the dream goes off. It's just a matter of how much control. This is determining how much control you have of the space you bring Scarlet into.
Got it.
So Timber, basically, Scarlet. Before the next question happens, suddenly everything turns to darkness. And you can see yourself. It's like you are lit, but there's just black all around you. Timber, you come to in this space as well. Whatever you had devised the dream's location to be did not work. You are essentially in the empty mind of Scarlet right now with her.
Is
You
there a
are
spinning
together.
top?
So I see him.
You do see each other, yes.
Timber, she's
Um,
trying to take over.
Okay,
You have to wake me up.
Yes, we're going to do that right now. And I'm gonna, I'm just gonna slap her across the face and attempt to wake her up.
So for those of you outside, you would see Timber kind of sitting there in his meditative stance. You can see the dream on his tattoo coming up. You can see him and Scarlet standing there. You can see him slap Scarlet in the face in this dream. As he does that, Scarlet, you stay in the dream, but Bloodraven's eyes open. And Sarathil and Curon, you would see Scarlet sit up really quickly. Her eyes are completely opaque and clouded over, as she is now just kind of like, her head is moving around, scanning the area, occasionally looking to the two of you and to Timber and Talray. But she's not saying anything. Timber and Scarlet, you are still in the dreamscape.
Oh.
Zarathos will be like, all right, this is enough of this. And he'll cast Mind Blank on her now.
Okay. It is all rapidly expelled from you, Scarlet, including Timber. Timber, you would be kind of like almost violently ejected from her dream mind. As Timber, you would come to first, and then Scarlet, you would feel like that it's painful as the psychic energy is ripped out of you. But you feel it all bleed away at once, and the darkness fades to what you would see if you were actually controlling your body, and you are back in control. And look around and see the manacles tied to you, and everyone worried around you.
Did I hurt anyone?
No,
Oh,
no, you're fine. Are you okay?
I'm sorry. I should have waited. I'm sorry.
Yes, you should have.
I'm sorry. That was stupid. I'm sorry.
What was it that you experienced?
Sirius was back in my mind. I couldn't move. I just saw her face. And she started to ask me the questions.
We have to be careful.
I know.
It sounds like she's persistent in the control she's trying to extend to you.
Stop.
Curon gives a look to Sarathil. We need to make sure that she's protected at all times. Next time, please, let's wait to do this together. Then he turns and walks off to his bed.
Absolutely. The tension in the air persists, but Scarlet, you do feel safe again.
Zarathos will kind of just like walk over a bit to try to comfort a bit, saying, I was here the whole time, and I only tried to help as soon as I saw you in anguish. As I'll kind of look into her eyes and I see that it's probably quite different, I'll take off the mandibles or retract them.
I'm sorry, Seth. That was so stupid.
I can't quite say what's best for you. I just wanted to help.
I appreciate that you did. I did get to speak with my brother, but it wasn't worth the risk.
Well, we can be thankful that this time nobody got hurt. And we won't need to try, hopefully, like anything like that again.
Sorry. I just keep saying it over and over and over again.
Yeah. But eventually, a tacit return to restful, long rest happens. And you are able to get your long rest. The next morning, those of you, yes, Kieran.
Does this reset my max HP, or am I still?
It resets a quarter of it. So you'll need 4 long rests to get it completely returned. You can take multiple, since I know 4 hours gets you.
Right.
Yeah, so you can heal up 50% of the time. So it'll take 2 full nights of rest for you to get your HP back. Okay. You would all awake to the familiar smell of sizzling rock slug. As a new cart of rock slug is brought into the infirmary, and you see Stronach is following close behind it, grabbing herself a bowl first before sitting amongst all of you as you wake up, ready to talk.
While they're serving the rock slug to other patients, I quickly hand out good berries to all of the entire group, just to, for safety's sake, of course.
Thank you, Tare. This looks much better than Kieran says, eyeing the slug.
Yeah, and you can see that this one is it's really gross when it's on the grill because the rock slug has like a lot of like tendrily legs that just kind of move as it's being cooked. It's not alive, but it just the heat and the reaction is that it moves really grossly.
Like a lobster when thrown in hot water.
Yeah, exactly. Or like that octopus they serve where when you pour the sauce on it, it starts to wriggle. Yeah, it's like that. It's real gross. But Strani, just like Ebediah, absolutely loves this shit. As she starts to dig into it and kind of looks to you all waking up. The Gloamlord can meet with you right away. He is eager to show his gratitude for defending our city.
And we're eager to meet him. Wiswick spoke fondly of the Gloamlord, and well, we have much news to discuss.
I did fully alert him to the condition of Wiswick. Might be a little less jovial than when you first spoke to him. Wiswick was a dear friend of his.
Of course. A friend to most who met him.
I will let you all finish your breakfast. Be waiting outside. As soon as you are ready, I can take the Gloamlord.
During breakfast, I want to lean over or just talk to the group, but directing mostly at Kieran. Well, yesterday I met a friendly guy named Precious. He was an Afridi forger who worships Fierce Soul. Manufactures functional fire forces to defend his friends in the city. And I mean, I feel for these folks, but there's few opportunities for payoff around here. I'm thinking they might need to fend for themselves, and I think he's the guy to do it. So if we could put in a good word for him today, that would be, pretty pretty good, I guess.
Yes, of course. I'm sure the Gloomlord's already well aware of I should hope at least, the talent within his own fortress. But yes, that construct outside the gate saved all of our butts.
But you have a moment to discuss anything that you want to discuss before going to meet with Gloamlord. But otherwise, you can head over with Stronny.
Anything else you want to talk to him about? Like, I don't know, maybe a reward, or we were gonna try and find some instructions about our next location, right? We're going to the place that Wiswick was from.
Yes, his golem Noldo should be able to show us the way, but that's a good point. Maybe we can check with the Gloomlord if there's a safer passage. And then we will have to find our way to the surface after that, though I had assumed one of the deep gnomes there would be more than ready to assist. Actually, I never did contact Wiswit's sister. Huh. Well, something for later. But otherwise, I think we're all ready to head on out.
Head on
I
out.
dare
All right.
I dare you to just say one of her names. Just
Three.
a single out of 7.
Smurvlinter.
Mervlinter.
Mervlin Turf, of course.
Mervlinter. Classic.
Of course.
Um,
Of course.
Strani escorts you through back to the Paragon garrison, where the Gloamlord is. She leads you up kind of what in the surface you would feel like you were going up a tower, but you're really just going up into rock, where you find there's this chamber that's built into the rock that overlooks the garrison, where the Gloamlord can see the whole garrison from above, except down the halls into where the gate is, but he can observe the whole garrison from here. But you go up there, and it's this very beautiful chamber of that same kind of cobalt and jade marble, mingled with these like really lovely clusters of obsidian glass and natural stone that has been carved into different shapes and designs. Some are images of Dwergar fighting heroically. Some are, pure soul imagery as well. And you find Garlemagne is standing by a large overlook looking down. There's no window there. It's just sort of a balcony that looks down on the garrison. And you can see he's quite tall for a dwarf. He's, where dwarves are usually, in the 4'8", 4'9", 4'10" range. He's a solid 5'5". And but he's a thick man. It's the cliche of dwarves being stocky is thoroughly who this man is. His neck is very wide. He has very large muscles, large arms and wrists, to the point like cliche dwarf in a lot of ways. He has a he has a like shadow here, like 5 o'clock shadow, but the true glory of his dwarven facial hair is the mustache that you can see is just comes out really large and bristly and bushy, and then kind of comes down into braids down. He has basically a massive handlebar mustache of this bright orange hair mingled with kind of these silver touches here and there. He has really heavy-looking black plate armor on, with a clearly what's probably a slag greatsword, because it's just the hilt of a greatsword, at his waist, and he is observing down below. His hands kind of on the balcony walls, looking down before he turns around and gives this very faint, somewhat depressed smile as his eyes look dim, likely processing the death of Wiswick. And he looks as welcome to the halls of the Gloamlords. I apologize for my sorrow. What has happened to Wizzy? Thank you, Strani, for bringing. Come, sit. You see there's this kind of like what is probably a battle table for the commanders to talk in. You can see there's a map painted on the table or carved into the stone table of what you presume are the territories of the Dwergar, or at least what were the total territories.
Kieran gives a respectful bow to the Gloomlord and goes, "Thank you, Gloamlord Garlemagne, for seeing us and for everything you've done so far. We appreciate it. We all bear the sorrow of Wiswick's death, but as they say, we must soldier on."
Wise words, Elysian. And he looks to Strani and then kind of looks over to a guard that's there, and he kind of just like claps his hands twice, and the guard steps into another room. When one of our own passes, goes to the great beyond, we in the Underdark in Kolpolt Rodstva, we feast to their honor. And drink merrily. To remember the life that they lived. And you would see some Dwergar come out with several plates of food and drinks. I have access to surface food. It might be more amenable to your palates.
Oh, praise the moon.
As you can see, like you can smell like actual roasted chicken and fruit and all sorts of things from the surface. It's the Gloamlord. Gloamlord looks at it and says, "I myself have always had a penchant for the surface fruit. When Wizzy would visit, he'd always bring something special from the new world he found." But
Have you had a chance to try cinnamon buns? They're a marvelous creation.
That's what I gave him last time.
Oh, sticky buns.
Yes, sticky buns. Thank you. That's what they're called.
Oh, I would give all the gemstones in my vaults for some sticky buns.
Well, funny you say that then. Teleports away, gets some, comes back.
Take all those gems now.
We're very poor, you must understand.
Wizzy always had a way with bringing treats from the surface. Our friendship was brief but quick to fellowship. And he looks over and Scarlet, do you have the bracelet on, the chain bracelet? You see as he his eyes go wide when he sees that, and he leaps out of his chair and walks over and kind of just like holds his hands out to your arm where the bracelet is. May I? And he kind of takes your arm gently, and you can see he traces where there's kind of like the ring on your finger. You see he takes his finger. His fingers are really like fat and sausage like when they're coming, but they touch so gently onto the ring, and you can see he almost is making little micro movements, and then goes like this, and you see the primordial runes start to flourish around the rings of the bracelet as Lily just comes out, and you see he immediately. It is a pleasure to see you again, little friend. He's not talking to you.
Yeah.
And you see the Lily goes up and just starts to nuzzle up, burning, singeing his mustache. But he just starts to pet the burning molten snake, and he's clearly getting like some burns on his hands, but he's just smiling and laughing at the snake.
You know the snake.
Of course I do. I worked with Wizzy and Capri over in the forge to make this creature, to bring her from the elemental planes into the bracelet for you. He's very fond of you. He told us you're Scarlet, right? Told us some stories
Of course.
of your brave adventures. Said you had a hot temper, much like the elemental planes.
That I do. Fortunately.
You see there are a few sweets on the table, and Lily does absolutely just like...
Yep. Was this on purpose? Did you put this in here on purpose?
You have to see the elements are not... we don't create them. They are people. They are creatures. She just likes sweets.
Well, it's beautiful. Thank you for helping him craft such a beautiful gift.
A pleasure. But this meeting is not necessarily about remembering our old friend. It's to show our appreciation for giving Kolpolt Rodstva a chance. Cannot let you go without acknowledging these actions. Brave deeds. Would like to reward you.
No, please, thank you, but
We would
just-
greatly appreciate that. Like, really, really appreciate it.
we were just happy to lend our aid where we saw those in need. Kieran says, almost staring daggers at Teleray. I'm
Well,
sure you need it much more than us in your trying times.
But we really need it really bad as well too. We're been going through some trying times as well. There might be more of you, but there's also a lot of us, and yeah. Thank you for your reward. That's very kind.
Kieran moves over to Tower and kind of grabs him a little and goes, "They always give it. You just need to deny it, so the gods see your humility. You're making us look bad."
I speak in English. Sorry, in Elvish.
Oh
Look,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know much about these dwarven folk, but I heard rumors they were a little greedy. I mean, I'm just trying to be, I need this. Honestly, I haven't had anything for so long. Please just give me this one.
Releasing him and saying a little, almost swear in Elvish, Kieran would go, "Our friend is correct, though. We are in trying times ourselves."
Strani tells me that you are on your own sort of mission, quest. Some interesting things she told me about her time.
Yes, did she mention traveling to Carcery? Kieran says, looking at her with a knowing glance. She's there, right?
Yes, she is.
Yes, okay. Yeah, sharing a knowing glance, in meeting the Harbinger.
She nods to you when you look to her and goes, "She informed me that you went to wherever these damned illithids are getting magic and empowerments and the damned fluid creatures that they use." And you now when he says illithids, you notice like the crest on his chest for the Gloamlords is the skull of an illithid on a medallion he has. But you also notice like an actual illithid skull up overlooking what looks like a hearth. We have always fought against the illithids, but never did they ever arrive with this many. And clearly this carcery place has something to do with it, and this harbinger. Which is what brings me to my next question. But first, he nods to one of the guards, and they go into the back, and the same folks who brought the food in bring out chests of gold, placing one in front of each of you. For each of you, it is a mixture of gold and gemstones. It is what we can offer in these trying times because a lot of our other resources must go to defending the city, but I am a Gloamlord, and I have a vast fortune that is to reward those who serve greatly for the fortress. You each will get 10,000 gold.
Woohoo.
A mixture of gems that make up the gold. So it's a lot of gems, really. But you're informed that roughly the going rate for this amount of gems, at least in the Underdark, is 10,000 gold pieces. He's like, I'm not sure what the conversion is on the surface, so I do apologize for anything. It is less, or it would be more. I don't know.
No. We appreciate your generosity, Gloamlord. Thank you for everything again.
Of course. But with this reward comes not a stipulation. This is yours. You have done great service to me and my people. These are yours. But there's more where that came from. If you delay your quest to stick around, maybe there is a unique opportunity with the weakening of the Elder Brain to create an incisive victory against the illithid armies.
You have more information on it. That creature.
Did you cast Forbiddance this morning?
I was about to say, when we were in the middle of this conversation, Kieran would have. Stefan, the player, forgot to.
Yeah, I figured as much. For some reason, the Elder Brain is not leaving the pit beneath the city. Normally teleports in and regurgitates a bunch of bugs, then leaves. But it is not leaving.
That would be the magic of Iluvania. I've been ritual casting a spell, Forbiddance. It doesn't allow for planar teleportation, or just teleportation amongst the planes. I've been thinking I'd really like to have it so it affects aberrations, but unfortunately it's not quite there yet. Anyways, I've been casting this every morning on our journey as we head through that area. It seems to cause more disarray amongst the illithid ranks when they can't teleport out to safety.
Well, it has certainly made it easier for us to kill them. So I appreciate that.
Of course.
But with you here, we have an opportunity to take out the Elder Brain. We will do it ourselves if need be, but you've proven yourselves to be great champions. We would enjoy having you on our side as we do so. But you would clearly need to stay. I know that you have pressing business to the north. Your own quest against the threats of Carcery. There'll be more reward if you stay. Finish this.
Kieran turns to look at. All right. So first, now, okay. So, you are correct. We are in quite a rush. I don't know how long we have, and though, looking to his companions, dealing a blow to the Harbinger, such as taking out one of his lieutenants or whatever these creatures are, one of his allies, that is gaining a foothold here on the material plane, would set back his plans, I'm sure. Gloamlord, we had been working to ascertain you some allies down here and above. We are forming a type of alliance to fight against these extraplanar threats. The surface has its own issues right now. We encountered some Ettins, the two-headed. I guess it was just the one, but there's two heads, so I don't know. What is that? A singular?
It is a curious culture. They see themselves as twin souls. One soul, two minds. Quite spiritual people. Didn't think that they would fight. They would be. That is good news.
Yes, they had started to rally some of their kin to meet at the Kiln, I believe. Is that where the Elder Brain?
Normally, that is where the Elder Brain operates from. The majority of the Mind Flayers are typically there. They have been, before your arrival at least, boldly pushing outward, as you could tell from the blockade. But I guess without their teleportation, they have been much easier to deal with. Kill a bunch of them and they'd just die, instead of 20 more showing up out of nowhere.
Well, if that's the case, what happens when we take out the brain?
Not too sure. The legends say that it would cripple their abilities to think as one creature, make them much easier to take out. And they can't instantly tell when you're sneaking up on them.
So, you're saying the brain is staying within the depths outside Kolpolt Rodstva.
Kolpolt Rodstva.
Yes, sorry. And would it help if we brought the Ettins here to aid you?
Any reinforcements would be appreciated and helpful. We don't have you, and I think we will need to make sure we are very well fortified with a strong attack force.
Well, if it's my magic that's keeping it here as well. He kind of just gives a pleading look to the rest of the group, like,
Huron, this isn't this isn't going to mean a lot coming from me. But we've lingered too long. We've waited too long. We need to go bring Wiswick home. I know it's going to tear you apart to walk away, but you can't help everyone. You did the best that you could. We have to go.
Yes, well, you're right. And if we get to Smoothhold soon enough, we can send... I don't know what the deep gnomes have exactly in the way of help, but they're crafty souls.
I know I'm still new relatively, and we're still getting to know each other. But you know the reason I came upon this journey is because when I spoke with Elivania, she made it certain that whoever would come for the piece of stone I had would be worthy to wield it and help fight off against the evils that are plaguing our lands. And I think you are right. Whatever the Illithid here, they are definitely connected to Costry, but if we don't get you the last piece you need, then I don't think that you will be strong enough to face them. And I think that's should be our primary thing.
But how many will die when we can stay to help?
Kieran, we
More
are merely
die.
5 individuals.
We're more than individuals. We're champions of Ilivania.
Dwergar are more than capable of doing this. We are just additional aid. We have...
What about the drow? They have them too, right?
Well,
That might take some
yes. And then Kieran will simply, I don't want to roleplay this, explain the situation with the drow that we went through. And if Sarathil has the amulet on him, Kieran, I might suggest. I don't know if
I would.
if this could prove any aid to your artificers or whatever you have, but this is one of the cult of what's his name?
Praxis?
Abraxas.
Yes, Abraxas. Thank you. One of the cult of Abraxas priestesses wore that, and it protects her mind from the Illithid control.
Oh, well. Artifact like that would be very helpful, especially if we can replicate it. You're saying you got through to these drow.
Well, yes, it turns out that the priest class are using these amulets to both protect and control their underlings while they continue to do the work of Abraxas.
That could be very useful. Break their hold on the society.
Yes, I think we've really sparked a flame that'll light the fire of rebellion in those three.
Well, this is the help you can offer. Gladly accept it. Understand that you have pressing concerns to the north.
Actually, there's one other thing I might be able to do for you. Sorry. Kieran kind of takes a step back to think, allowing anyone else that wants to talk the space.
And you see the Gloamlord kind of like awkwardly clears his throat and is like, regardless, you are champions and defenders of the fortress and the citadel. You survive whatever you're doing to the north, and if Kolpolt Rodstva stands, you're always welcome back. If we break the hold the Illithids have on the Underdark, whatever you're planning for the surface, you can count me in.
Do you have, kind of looking back at Kieran as he's thinking, do you have some sort of, I don't know, communication device that we can use to, check in? I feel that would give him a little bit of solace, peace of mind.
We have ways of letting each other know over great distances. We are okay. The gloom stalkers are used to these tools. We do have some seers and cast magic to communicate, but they're independent agents, so to speak. But, and he looks over to Strani and nods to her. And then he, while she's pulling out some materials, he looks over to a lot of you and says, don't know how useful it is now, but did gift Wizzy with a passageway. He knew the runic sigils to teleport here. Don't know if he can use his magic from his book, but you needed to come back quickly. There is a means. And then you see Strani pulls out this bronze cylinder that she kind of twists. And as she twists the top and bottom, they have kind of these kind of gears on it. You see the metal retracts, and there is this kind of like glittering molten. It looks like magma is in there, but there's no heat coming off of it. And she twists the gears in a certain way, and it starts to kind of blink. Basically, it kind of fluctuates, glowing bright and then dim. These are cinder stones. We use them to alert each other that we are safe and alive. If the light goes out, it means that there's nothing left. Come back to. But as long as the fires still burn, Kolpolt Rodstva will stand.
So while he's saying this, Kieran just wanders off and starts to cast a spell. That takes 10 minutes to cast.
Everyone awkwardly eats.
It's just him muttering to himself, and he's like, oh, "Of course, of course." And he just drags the chest after him to go set up this circle.
Mundy comes back and he's got the rod of gems in his mouth. And I say, "Hey, that's not yours."
Yeah, I imagine Mundy comes like swooping in on the balcony and kind of just like rolls in there and up to Talray and is like breathing heavily and has the stick. You can see like the horns and like fronds are kind of like back, and his head is up like this, and he's like, and he just drops this absolute slime covered bejeweled bronze rod in your lap, Talray.
I know you can understand me. You can't play the puppy. You can't give me those puppy dog. Okay, fine. I'll throw it.
He goes. Mundy goes and catches it, and Mundy is an equal opportunity adorable dragon, so he doesn't bring it right back to Talray. He plops the slime covered rod into Timber's lap.
Oh.
And he does the head thing where it pushes your arm up while it's holding that.
He won't leave you alone until you throw it. The further, the better.
Okay. Hey, 10.
Monday goes after it. And this proceeds through the entire 10 minutes of the ritual cast as Mundy is annoying everyone, and I imagine at a certain point everyone's just like, you just got to ignore him Let him play by himself. He can. He's,
Good.
But before we get this ritual spell off, is there anything else anyone would like to say to Garlemagne or ask Garlemagne?
Have you ever heard
Of the high elves. Sorry.
Yeah. uh, I know you're into big Fear Soul, the God Drake, but I was of a different kind. The Twilight Drake Gloamlord. Have you ever heard of him before, or seen him, or heard any stories? He's kind of he likes to travel a lot and doesn't stick to one place too often, so it's possible he might have been here before. Not likely, but I like to keep an ear out for him.
No, I've not heard of Gloamlord necessarily. I've heard some of the legends of the god drakes outside of Fierce Soul. As you can see, I have some access to the surface that not everyone else does or wishes for, truly. So I have heard some of the other legends of the surface, such as your goddess Ilivania. Most folk around here are not gonna know that name, but I've been to the Twilight Vale before.
Oh, maybe you could tell us a little bit about this Aeolicia place.
Well, I am certain that Kieran here can tell you all about it. I'm sure he spent many years there. But I have been there. I've not been there in recent years, but it's a beautiful place. Even a little bright for me. Used to the dark here, and even though they're twilight skies, it's still a little twinkling stars and glowing fungus. That part did remind me of home, but it was creepier than the fungus down here, all bone white and lattice shaped, looked like it was eating the village I was in. But it's really just their architecture. They talk really slow, and they sit around a lot. They lounge. It's a lounging culture in the Vale. Is what I suppose if you live that long, you've got the time to lounge.
Gloamlord it sounds like a place Gloamlord would like to hang out. That's the last I heard of him. He was somewhere around that area.
Well, if he's the little Drake, the little Twilight Drake, I suppose that a place called the Twilight Vale would be a good place to look for him.
I hope so.
Okay, what spell are you casting, Kieran?
Planar ally.
Ooh. Excellent.
I have that one.
And I think he's going to beseech Fear Soul.
Interesting.
To send a liaison, if you will.
If you need a little extra firepower, I'll come over and help. And just, I don't know, be helpful.
Wait,
No,
hold
it's just a
on.
simple spell. It's more ritual conjuration casting than it is beseeching the divine.
I mean, it's a little bit more complicated, I think.
Well, yes, but that'll come out in roleplay. What I'm saying is that Kieran would have gone off to do this by himself. At least the casting aspect, because what happens when it appears is up to Sean.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize it was a ritual spell for anyone other than me.
Oh no, it's not ritual. I
just
imagine
has a 10-minute cast time.
Cast time is a
Yeah. So I imagine when you're building this ritualistic circle, like it, for a moment you kind of get a flash of the fields of death again, and what you're creating almost looks like the etchings and emblems that were on all the archways in the circle of doors. And as you, I guess, what does it look like when you finish casting the spell? Like, what does the magic spell look like?
So I imagine it starts with the twilight, ethereal glow of Iluvania. When Kieran touches his fingers down to the edge of the conjuration circle, it flares up in this, purple white light, and then after a moment, it flares bright, fiery, shininess, as you know, it's Fear Soul that Kieran is invoking, and he says in Elvish, but like kind of comes out in like a primordial almost, or whatever, or draconic actually, I guess, for Fear Soul. You know, he beseeches, "Oh God, Drake, Fear Soul, the dwarves of Kolpolt Rodstva need your aid now. I beseech you, send an ally that I may lead to them in their fight against the Illithids, commanded by the Harbinger of Carcery." And yeah, and then boop.
Yeah. Okay. You watch as the it all kind of boils up together. The magic twilight kind of slowly turns into this like almost bubbling magma for a moment as the ritual circle you create kind of this magma coagulates out of it to form a humanoid shape coming up. And as it cools, you can see quickly literal metal bronze skin on a figure appears. They are probably about 7 feet tall, so close, a little bit taller than you, Kieran. And as they're kind of solidifying, you can see there's this brilliant, glimmering, shiny armor all over them that has these fiery runes across it. You can see a blade at their waist and a crossbow at the other side. The crossbow is the wood looks like it's forever burning, and cindered. There's no arrows anywhere around. You can see their hands don't stay while the molten goes away. It's up to their arm stays molten, but then you see rock clusters of the magma appear, very similar to to what Lily looks like on this creature's hands. Its eyes glow a bright gold. Their hair is all white and flowing down the back. It looks like a human man. And then you can kind of see as they appear, they kind of clench their molten fist, and a bright light surges from their hand, and then they open it up and what kind of apparates out of the hand and kind of swoops around to kind of wrap around the individual and cling to their shoulder, is a very large phoenix. And it kind of just looks down at you, Kieran, and says, "You've summoned an ally of Fierce Soul to aid you."
Yes, my name is Kieran Islastane, Twilight Cleric of the dead goddess Iluvania. I'm here in the Underdark with Gloamlord Garlemagne of Kolpolt Rodstva, and I would ask you lend your aid. The dwarves here are staunch devotees to your god, but are faced with troubling times. May I ask who I'm addressing?
In a moment.
Normalize asking NPCs their names.
My name is Atmos. The Smith Dragon is not in his right mind. We who serve him still carry out his will, his what was once a great benevolence to the mortal realms. Do you have something to offer?
Yes, of course. And Kieran gestures to the chest. I believe that I was told this is about 10,000 gold worth of gems and precious metals the dwarves here have just offered us.
Mundy drops the rod at the Phoenix's feet. Like, no, Mundy, that's not yours. You can't just give it away like that. Sorry, he doesn't understand.
You see this elemental creature has kept its face pretty stoic through all of this, but it can't help but crack a smile at Mundy's playfulness. It's a basically, Curon, you're the only one who can notice it's so subtle, but your passive perception is so high that you can see, oh, this is not just like an empty entity. It has some emotions.
Right.
It does bend down and open up the chest and look at the gems inside. And what is it that you ask for?
The dwarves will be moving against the Elder Brain, the Illithids sent by the Harbinger of Incarcery to create a foothold. I would ask you help them prepare and fight this entity, beat it back, and keep them safe.
You see he's kind of kneeled down and is investigating the gems. And then you see he waves a hand over the chest. And you watch as half of the gems seem to almost burn away into cinders and ash. I can give these people 2 days for this payment. I will help bellow their forges, reinforce their weapons, and if they attack within the 2 days, I will fight alongside them. Service of a great enemy to all.
Yes. Thank you, Atmos. Kieran says, looking back to the party and the Gloomlord, greatly appreciate everything you can do. Did you hear that, Garlemagne? 2 days, aid by a... What are you, an angel? You look like it. Yeah, he says, ribbing him in the...
I am a tempest.
Right, Tempest.
And he looks over to... Garlemagne looks like dumbfounded. Like, he knew you guys were powerful, but summoning a direct agent of Fierce Soul, he's just like, fucking hell, they're not joking. Oh, I should have paid them more.
I think if you offer him more gold, he'll keep working.
He kind of looks around like, fucking hells. But then you see Atmos immediately turns away from you and looks to Garlemagne. What preparations do you already have, Gloamlord? We must start immediately. Your time with me is precious. Oh! All right, lad. Man. Tempest. He nods to one of his guards. He says, bring this great champion of Fierce Soul to the commanders to prep for an attack on the Elder Brain. I cannot thank you enough. This is more than you ever had to offer us, Wayward Five. On your path north to Smoothhold, Strani here, she'll go with you to at least get you to Smoothhold safely. She knows the quickest route. We have not a lot of contact with Smoothhold. They tend to like to move around and keep to themselves. But I have had some times in the past where I have worked with the Diamond Duke, and we need to know how to reach him, so Some of our gloomstalkers like Strani know the way. The Zvirfneblin are very, very good at hiding. So be aware that they might not immediately accept you to their arms, even with the corpse of Wizzy with you. And you see the where his guard leaves with Atmos to go and begin prepping. The Phoenix kind of stays behind and flies around and kind of lands next to Garlemagne. He's like, "Oh, you precious." And he goes to pet the Phoenix. You actually would see Scarlet, your Lily would come back out of the gauntlet, and almost like your hand gets like dragged up when Lily comes out, and kind of goes up to the Phoenix and kind of just like is examining it. And you see the Phoenix kind of nips at Lily, but then they seem to bow to each other. Is they're both elemental spirits.
Yeah.
There's a nice little moment where they are kind of like dancing around each other.
It's beautiful. I want to take out the hammer hilt that I have of the slag hammer and just set it down on the floor. And Kieran, do you still have my fierce soul hammer? Is that in a bag somewhere?
I believe I give it back to you after I cleansed it.
Oh, right, here it is. So I will say I have it like on my back or something, just not something, not totally reachable, but I'll move it from my back to my hip so that I my main weapon again.
Sure. Well then, when will you leave?
We have some preparations to make. If you'd like, we can stay one more day, so on the morrow, I can cast Forbiddance and give you one more day of keeping the Elder Brain trapped here. As much as I would like to stay for the fight, we can't tarry longer than that. I'll get in contact with the Etten that we met, as well as a few other allies. And I'm sure that my allies here have some things they need to do. I mean, Kieran makes an economics joke about keeping the gold in circulation instead of saving it in something, I don't know, trickle down economics.
Well, it is appreciated that you'll stay another day to give us another chance. But good luck on your journey. Strani is a great guide. And I do hope that we see each other again, friends of Wizzy. Wayward Five.
Thank you. And if we're not here, the Ettins were referring to me as the Twilight Shepherd, just to let you connect the dots.
Twilight Shepherd, would you like me to start spreading that? Is that something you want?
I mean, it's maybe not, just letting you know that it was a thing. I'm not making it a thing. They repeated it. I was just. Anyways, I'm gonna.
Gee, I was about to give you a nickname like Strani here. Because you've done so much for us. Kieran, Isilastane, Rani.
Thank you, Gloomlord. I was simply working in the best interest of all mortals.
Rani the Twilight Shepherd.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. Okay. So, quick point of clarification. You said just half the gold was taken?
Yeah, only
You
half.
didn't want all of it?
It aligned with their values.
Okay, that's fair. Cool.
So I halved it and doubled the time you got.
Oh. Cool.
Didn't want to immediately take all of that reagent gold away from you.
I mean, I think you probably do want to take all that reagent gold away.
It's true, actually. That's a lot of legend lores. But anyway, yeah, you can easily, finish up the meal, and you have a day, I guess, and then in Kolpolt Rodstva if you want to stock up on things. It's still quite a journey north, time-wise. But it's going to be a safe journey now that you're past Kolpolt Rodstva. There's minor dangers in the Underdark, but the combined survival skills of Strani and Talray should be able to keep you guys out of trouble.
I can't get lost. I physically can't get lost.
Yes, but if you don't know where you're going at all, you can't get lost in places you've been. Basically, is what it is.
I can't get lost, Sean. Period.
He always knows where he is. It
Yeah.
just might be in the wrong spot.
Exactly.
Right.
You know that you're in the wrong spot when you're in the wrong spot.
Exactly. Love it.
But you'll have the day. You can get ready however you want. You can sell items, trade items, buy items, whatever you'd like to do here. And then you can head up to Smoothhold in our next session. But that's where we'll end tonight. And we will start with that journey next week. You've given all the aid you've done, despite not being able to actively contribute to the fight with the Elder Brain. You've done quite a lot to help the Dwergar out. Much more than I thought you would be able to without staying. So, good on you.
Expectations.
Yeah, as soon as you brought out that the forbidden spell, I was like, oh wow. That really levels the playing field against these mind flayers.
Yeah.
All right, folks, but thank you so much for joining us tonight. While Shannon looks for someone for us to raid, I'll talk a little bit about our programming this week. Is another play in Paradise coming back this week?
Back up tomorrow, yeah. Continue with
yeah.
a little bit of Gloamhaven.
Excellent. So check out Alex and Mike for some Gloomhaven tomorrow night for another play in Paradise. Wednesday night it's not Relaxing in Paradise this week because my grad school schedule has moved that to Thursday nights now. So Thursday nights will be the return of Relaxing in Paradise, where I'll do some crafting, relaxing, playing some games. We'll see what happens. There's been a resurging interest in Valheim within me that might happen. I saw Josh on the other day, and it made me got the bug itching again. So I'll probably play Valheim. And then on Sunday is the Sean Enchanted Power Hour. We'll recap tonight and speculate, and then we'll start over again next week for Advantage in Paradise on Monday. But keep an eye out for potential new programming coming out in 2022. We're going to look to maybe get some other shows going on the channel to get some new faces, new folks, and provide y'all with more adventures. But for now, thanks for joining us in Paradise tonight. We're gonna raid. We're going to try to raid Critical Bard. Sometimes he has his raids off, so we might not be able to. But go ahead and give him the love from Paradise. We will see you all very soon. Say goodbye, everybody.
Night night.
See ya.